Welcome to America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Good to have you with us on this Friday afternoon. Our program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Big day on the Derby Trail on Saturday. We'll have the action for you. We'll preview those races coming up. First things first, South Ozone Park, New York. Getting set for race 6, approaching the 20-minute mark to post. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. We have here in New York, Warriors Revenge looking to win his 9th outing in his last 10 starts. We're going to see Barber Road at Oaklawn, who was second in last year's Arkansas Derby, went to the Kentucky Derby, trying to get through his first allowance condition. As for Warriors Revenge, proved he's not just a Finger Lakes horse last time out.
It's a very cool horse with those 19 times hitting the board in 22 starts, and easily beat a horse that came back and won here over the weekend, improving his Beyer figure 11 points. I picked him on top. I think he's very, very dangerous, though it's an awfully competitive race.
So look at the field that he's going to line up against in the featured 8th on the card. 6 furlongs, New York bred, allowance optional claiming group, and Warriors Revenge. 84 Beyer in that win at Aqueduct. He had won 7 in a row at Finger Lakes before he came to Aqueduct, got beat, comes right back and wins again.
And Marquette will be looking for a second win in the card, having won the 4th race earlier today. The card, he was very, very good. He's a consistent type. He figures to be relatively forwardly placed in here, and just got to think he's fairly dangerous. I thought that maybe the horse inside of him, More Grateful, might be a little bit interesting, dropping down after facing monsters last time. But I just have to respect the consistency of Warriors Revenge, and this last race might be even better than it looks.
And he can do it several different ways. He can be forward, he can sit and stalk, he can lay just off the pace. 10 for 22 lifetime. He is 7-2 on the morning line. Meanwhile, Scacciatore, he had back-to-back runner-up finishes, actually 3 in a row, I should say, and then finally breaks through in a race that was meant for the grass, taken off. That was in the slop back in April of last year. We haven't seen him since.
That's the concern for me, is trainer Chris Englehart's numbers off of these substantials. I looked up 6 to 12-month layoffs. The numbers are not very good. He obviously has races that are good enough to win here, but to take a horse off the layoff at a relatively short price, not really for me, but obviously he has the races that can win it.
5-time winner. And, of course, that win at Aqueduct, but a long time ago. So will he be ready off the bench? Dylan Davis will have the call for Jeffrey Englehart. That's the feature. It's a good one in the 8th today at Aqueduct. So more coming up on that one in just a little bit. Let's take a look at all we have coming up on the program here, presented by Claiborne Farm. Getting close, as I said, to race 6 here in New York. We're approaching the 18-minute mark to post to kick off the late pick 4. We are fast here in South Ozone Park. And out in Hot Springs, Arkansas, we'll have that late pick 5. They are good on that main track. Races 4 through 9 still to come. We're going to see Barber Road in that feature. A horse who was in last year's Kentucky Derby and the runner-up in the Arkansas Derby. You can play it all by getting signed up with Naira Bets. $200 deposit match sign-up bonus. Punch in that code for new members. Match 200 at NairaBets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Our first live action out at Hot Springs, maiden special weight 6 furlong sprint. Let's go live to Paul LaDuca.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, you can see I'm inside today. It is a rainy day. I'm actually just a little bit surprised that the racetrack has labeled as good, because to me it's muddy as can be. So far in the races, we've seen some horses come up the rail and from off the pace as well. It doesn't seem like you want the front end. Like you said, we're going to see Barber Road a little bit later. He's been disappointing in his first 2 starts back here at Oaklawn. Let's get to this race. You know, when you look at this race, very, very good maiden special weight. You know, the 1 and 2 here from McLean Robinson. McLean got another W. His barn has been heating up, and I think those 2 horses definitely got a big shot real quickly because they're loading the gate. I landed on the 8 in here, Bowlesy. I love the breeding on the dam side. She's All In, obviously a grade 3 winner. She produced She's All Wolf, who's going in full to Flightline. So She's All In was a good runner. By Include, they love the off track gun runner. I know Donnie Von Hummel doesn't really get him cranked up first time out. This horse has got to work 4 back. That is very good. Let's go to Vic Stoffer for race number 4 here from Oaklawn Park.
They're at the post. They're off. Runaway Jack hopped at the start. Royal King broke on top from Gold Baron and Bolsey, global stage between horses. Then comes Plausible Denial, followed by Bolsey to the outside. That was Tolson up with the leaders, and the trailer is Runaway Jack. Royal King up the backstretch, doing it well for Christian Torres. It's Royal King, a length and 3/4 in front of Global Stage in second. After that slow start, Runaway Jack has moved into third and 3 from the front, with Tolson outside of him. 2 back, 2, Bolzen and Gold Baron. Plausible Denial is the trailer as they round the far turn, with Royal King galloping in front. Royal King from first-time starter Global Stage, who's being confidently handled by Ricardo. These are the two at the top of the stretch. Now 3 lengths further back, 2 at the rail and Runaway Jack. Here's Global Stage outside of Royal King. Royal King turns for home, just a half length in front of Global Stage on debut. And here's Global Stage alongside Royal King, and they come to the final 16th. Global Stage outside, Royal King inside, and Royal King counter punches and puts a half length in front. Global Stage, Runaway Jack. It's Royal King in front. Royal King won by 2. Very close for second between Runaway Jack and Global Stage. Plausible Denial finished 4th.
Global Stage, a first-time starter, rolls right up to Royal King. Looked like he was poised to roll right on by. He might have lost second here late. Royal King, third time out, breaks his maiden.
Yeah, I bet Global Stage looked like a winner every step of the way, and whatever. He remembered I bet him in mid-stretch. And not only Royal King win, but Robertson McLean may have run 1-2 here. It felt like the two did get up for second. And Runaway Jack a little unlucky because he completely blew the brake and got back into the race. But Royal King, a different horse today, showing a lot more speed than he'd ever shown before.
Third time the charm, and repels that challenge from Global Stage. Ooh, I think he held on for second. It was close.
I don't know. I never write in the photos there, but I think you might be right now.
3-1.
Time. Here's that slow-mo. Oh, the slow-mo says he lost. But
yeah, it looks like not the case.
yeah. The angle's a little tough to see on the regular race.
We'll make it official when we come back. 3-1 on your winner, Royal King, here in the 4th at Oaklawn. Just getting started on this Friday edition of America's Day at the Races. Up next, Late Pick 4 at Aqueduct, and a horse who was on the 2021 Kentucky Derby trail. Hasn't won since his 3-year-old debut for Bill Motkin, Nova Rags. Get back in the winner's circle. We'll be back.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap. On the board in 12 of 14 starts from ages 2 to 4, his career included a 6-race winning streak. Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage on this Friday afternoon. Thanks for being with us. It's brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Sixth at Aqueduct, approaching the 10-minute mark to post. Starts the pick 4, and allowance optional claiming 6 furlong sprint. And probably would have seen a very short price on Sheriff Bianco, who is going to be wheeled back in 5 days' time. They tried him at a mile. Just missed against Bourbonic, the Wood winner from a while back for Todd Pletcher. Scratch, so that has changed this race quite a bit.
Well, what's interesting about the race is the amount of speed in here and the fact that 2 of them are trained by David Jacobson in number 5 Airport and the 7 C's with D's. And Chateau, obviously fast, which is one of the reasons Nova Rags, who never seems to win, is favored. I mean, if this race, Greg, doesn't have a fast pace, I don't think any race could ever have a fast pace.
Well, that's your favorite right now for Bill Mott. Talked about this horse back in 2021 being on the Derby Trail, looking for his first win in over 2 years as we head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale. Hi, Maggie.
And Greg, it's hard to believe that it's February 10th. It feels more like it's April 10th here at Aqueduct with the spring-like conditions that we have here for this Friday card. But taking a look at your current favorite in Nova Rags, as Andy correctly pointed out, it feels as though there are about 4 or 5 horses that could go here and try to vie for the early lead, and which projects to leave Nova Rag in a nice stalking right off the pace type of position. Now, I saw him second off that long break of nearly a year going back to Saratoga, and noted how well he had done from 3 to 4 in that respect. He'd filled out, he'd gotten stronger. Well, it's the same thing once again here as he does make his first start as a 5-year-old. He looks incredibly fit now, pairing 3 races in consecutive fashion. He just looks like the horse to beat, if not on paper, definitely here in the paddock based upon appearances. A little intrigued by a horse that's going to be a big price, and that's number 2, down on the rail, In Dreams. He's third off the left, third off that trainer change for Horacio de Paz. And last time it was a fast pace in which Pirate Rick would come back to win again with a 104 buyer. Sheriff Bianco ran well, 4th place finisher, came back to win with a 91. And it was a fast pace that actually held together, and he made a little bit of a run around the turn, which was after he was far back, and then he kind of faded, just indicating that, again, it felt like he needed a race. And when I saw him first off of the layoff, he was really engaged. He was very sharp and just thinking that he needed to shake off the ring rust. I wish he did a little bit more running in that next start. But again, I'd be willing to give him another chance there. He looks fit. He's nice and calm and composed here in the paddock. And another one that, yes, some of his previous races were better when he was on the front end, but maybe today, considering it seems as though he's lost that early speed, it works in his favor and to his advantage with many horses that want to go to the front end. Greg?
All right, Maggie, we will see. Third off the bench for In Dreams, 11-1 on the board for that Horacio de Paz runner. Dylan Davis will be aboard. Again, pick 4 begins in the 6th here coming up. Pool closing in on $50,000 and growing. You can also get involved without risking any of your own money. You compete for real prizes with the Showdown contest. Put in your selections online. Go to NOWA.com/showdown and hopefully see your name on that leaderboard at the end of the program as well. All right, let's go back to the favorite here. So Nova Rags just does not win a lot. It's been a long time. What do you make of him?
Well, I mean, I think he's arguably the horse to beat it here, but a good horse to bet against. Because as you said, and we all said it, he's just not a winning type horse. He had an excuse. He should have won 2 races back. He was a little bit unlucky in there. He didn't have the best of trips. He got in a little trouble in the stretch. Last time out, the winner, who at times has run some good races, just ran off from the field, one of 2 very fast sprints that day. Pirate Rick winning the other one. As you can see, he ran against Chateau in there. I didn't think he ran badly, but he's not winning. It does feel like, though, with C's Get Degrees, Chateau, who always goes, and Airport, one of the 2 David Jacobsons, if not both, have to go in here. They're going to be moving, which should help him. So he's the most logical closer. But I think Big Engine's a very dangerous closer, the one I picked on top in this race as well, and we'll get to him.
All right, we'll get to the Grade 1 placed favorite as well in a moment. Here's Gagetown, Lynn Cash, Jose Gomez.
Who knows what to do with Lynn Cash? His horses are just so random. He was awful the other day at Laurel, but his race 2 back here would make him a contender.
He's got post 3, stablemate post 4, Steinbeck.
Steinbeck seems like the weaker after the entry, which means he'll probably win.
In Dreams, who Maggie was talking about, doesn't have that speed he used to have, has the rail.
I use 3 in the pick 5, the 2, 3, and 8. I don't know how he gets a winning trip and if he's good enough, but he had a terrible stumble in his race back, and last time just got run off his feet.
Linda Rice off the claim rider change. She has Jose Lezcano on big engine.
Yeah, it was kind of in the cards that Jose Lezcano be named because Sheriff Bianco rated a scratch, and I think this one, Linda had a lot of success for it in the past. She reclaimed.
Airport, David Jacobson claim has run some big numbers out of town.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a contender, but could be a factor in the pace.
American Gentleman, Jason Hues.
That race 2 back sticks out like a sore thumb, but did get a sloppy sealed track last time.
Another Jacobson runner, sees Get Degrees, who has speed and comes in off a win.
He's got a lot of speed, but he rode a gold rail to an exaggerated win last time.
Back to the favorite, Nova Rags. Here's the 5-year-old. Grade 1 place in the Woody Stevens.
He's just not reliable, Greg, you know. I mean, he's logical, and he might just win this race if they go fast up front. The others don't run, but he is not a reliable win horse.
And Chateau, speed outside. He was just third to the very talented Pirate Rick.
Well, it shows how well Pirate Rick ran because he actually outran him early, and as you can see, nobody outruns this horse early. He is fast, 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 but stamina an issue.
Pick 4 starts here in this 6th race coming up. You can follow along with all the stats of the jockeys, horses, trainers with free Equibase past performances. Go to NYRA.com/TV schedule to get involved. Pick 4 coming up. That means it's Jonathan Kinchin time. How you doing, JK?
I'm doing well, Wolfie. Look, I agree with a lot that Andy said. I think we might land on a different horse here. But this pace feels like it has to be fast. Now, I know we say that a lot in New York, and it doesn't always materialize, but sometimes the riders aren't as aggressive as they could be in other jurisdictions. The problem is, in this situation, or not maybe it's the problem if you like a horse like I like in the 8 Nova Rags, the speed is going to be fast because the horses are fast. I don't see any scenario in which the riders can get in the way of these 2 horses hooking up. And one of the things about speed horses is when they're good, to me, the pace meltdowns are even more likely because they're going to run at each other for longer. They're not going to get breathers. One of them's not going to go away early, then the other one can kind of take a deep breath. They're going to look each other in the eye for a very long time in this race. The 7 Seas Get Degrees and the 9 Chateau. They're going to look each other in the eye for a long time, and I think it's going to set up perfectly for the 8 Nova Rags. And to Andy's point, I think Nova Rags is not a dependable horse because this is a horse that has been running in a lot of sprints as of late and doesn't have a ton of early speed. Those are the types of horses that can make you feel disappointed in their performances because they need things to fall in their lap in order to show their best. That's what I think Nova Rags is. In this spot, with this speed, I want to play Nova Rags, but probably next time when this horse shows up in a spot with 1 speed horse, I'll be fading the 8 Nova Rags. I think he's going to get a perfect setup today.
Now, on paper, yes, there's speed that wants to go at each other. We'll see if it develops that way on the track.
Well, it just so frequently doesn't that I don't have the confidence that Jonathan does. But I do like Big Engine, a closer in this race. Linda Rice had a great deal of success with this horse going well back before the horse was claimed away, and I like the fact that she reclaimed him and moves him up in company and named a lesser rider, but Sheriff Bianco conveniently scratching, so Jose Lezcano gets to sneak aboard this horse, and you should get some pace. He's also a horse that's most comfortable inside of horses, so drawing a post towards the inside, he can at the very least spend a reasonable portion of the race down on the inside, which I think will allow him to be comfortable, even if he moves outside in the stretch, and I think there's a good chance this race comes apart. Last time out, victimized by a very slow pace that gave him no chance. I also think cutting back from 7 to 6 will help him, and I am hoping they move up front, and I think he can be the one closing at the end, along with Nova Rags, but he's a better price.
8-year-old who's had some big races in his career. He's not as good as he once was, but might set up for him today. With more, let's go downstairs to Maggie.
At times, he still can show that he is a good horse. I mean, you look at his win going back to September here, Belmont at Aqueduct, or the Belmont at the Big A meeting that we had. And, you know, over the past few starts for Big Engine, he kind of gotten that winter weathered, wilted kind of look to him, where his coat was long and wispy and he kind of had dropped away a little bit from his top line. Well, Linda gave him a nice old haircut and got him that shine and that richness to come back in his coat and to bulk up a bit. And I think it just speaks to what Andy was saying, that she knows this horse well. And I don't know why I spent so much time watching Sheriff Bianco's replays, because I started noticing he wasn't switching leads in his last few starts. When I knew that she was going to scratch him, and it just gives more confidence in taking Big Engine here. I'm taking Nova Rags just because I really love his appearance, but I think Big Engine's really dangerous. And another guy who's dangerous, Lynn Cash, when he ships his horses here. I mean, you just look at the body of work of Steinbeck, who on paper doesn't really appear to be good enough to win here, but you look at his races at Aqueduct, and they're some of his better ones. I love the way he's moving here, because he actually has had relatively a lot of time away from the races, given Mr. Cash's record of running his horses quite frequently. We haven't seen him in a month and a week. And I don't mind his last race. I know it was a slower speed figure, but he was kind of in tight early, checked back, and then re-rallied behind a gate to wire winner. He just made a really nice impression on me. And I wonder if he's one that, again, looks overmatched on paper, but it seems not to necessarily matter when this trainer ships in here to the Big A. Greg?
Really have to take notice of his horses. They've been running terrific. We will see if it continues here coming up. Meanwhile, down to 9-5. Shortest price we've seen on Nova Rags.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that he's come down to a short price. He's the logical closer in a race packed with speed. The problem is he's just not a winning type. Don't think he's I think he's probably the likeliest winner of this race, but I wouldn't take a short price on him to do that. And I'm going to stick with Big Engine, my closer. I use Big Engine. I lose 2-3-8, as I said, in the pick 5.
Meanwhile, outside, Chateau, more of what looks like plentiful speed in this race. 8-year-old as well. He's an 8-time winner, and he was just third to Pirate Rick, 2 1/4 lengths behind Sheriff Bianco, who would have been favored in here.
They are supposed to be moving up front in here. The problem is that we've said this quite often over the years we've done the show, and as we've seen far too often in New York, one rider's assertive, and the other guys just fall in line behind them. So while, yes, on paper, there's absolutely going to be a torrid pace in here, I'm just never, ever surprised here when in reality, there isn't one.
Airport to 5. C's Get Degrees to 7. Both from the same barn. Different ownerships, though, so it probably does not matter there. But those two and then Chateau, the 9, look like the primary speeds.
And they're all aggressive riders. Frankie Pennington's aggressive on the 5. Jorge Vargas aggressive on C's would Get Degrees, and Chateau, Manny Franco. So Chateau can't rate. I mean, he's incapable of rating. So they're supposed to be moving, and it's hard to imagine a scenario they aren't, except I've just been around a long time around here, and we've seen this scenario just too many times.
Will it set up on a silver platter for this guy right here, the favorite, the 8, Nova Rags? Seemingly going to get a great trip. We'll see if it plays out that way. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call. Start of the pick 4 from Aqueduct.
All in line. All set. And they're off. Very slowly off was In Dreams at the back of the field. Chateau is hard pressed from the outside. Airport wants a piece of the front as well. They move quickly early. Up on the outside here in the orange silks, that C's Get Degrees is now in the 3rd position to the outside of Steinbeck, who's in 4th, is in between horses. American Gentleman's getting shuffled back. Now has to move to the outside. Just lost a bit of ground there. Is now 4 off the lead. That one's followed by Gagetown, who's now going to be in the 6th position, and then Nova Rags far back to Big Engine and In Dreams. They've lost touch with the field early. Chateau's got the lead. It's Chateau who went 22.43 for that opening quarter mile. Steinbeck is now looming up the outside from 2nd. At the rail is Airport, who's trying to keep up in 3rd. C's Get Degrees, also Gagetown. Nova Rags is uncorking the rally in the purple cap. Going to be wide, but they've got to catch Chateau. Chateau has been alone up front, has less than a quarter mile to go at the top of the stretch. Steinbeck is within range, and here comes Steinbeck down the center of the racetrack. From the back, it's Nova Rags on the the grandstand side is trying to pick up that rally, but Chateau is still there. It's Chateau who's up by a length and a half. Steinbeck is moving closer up on the outside, and those red blinkers here. Steinbeck to now challenge and take the lead. Nova Rags is coming up late as well. Steinbeck is clear. Nova Rags into second. Steinbeck is your winner. It's Steinbeck, then came Nova Rags, Chateau, and a late run here. Big Engine flying on for the back in 1 minute 12.50 seconds.
Well, it looked like it set up awfully nice for Chateau. Sharp break under Manny Franco. Got the lead all to himself, and here unable to hold off Steinbeck.
All of the unpredictable, but predictably unpredictable things came to fruition here. Big speed on paper. The 1A gets loose in the lead. C's Get Degrees apparently had an appointment somewhere in town, and he wasn't involved at all in the pace. Lynn Cash had an entry. One of them had a chance on paper. The other one didn't. The one that had absolutely no chance on paper, that one was the one that won. Lynn Cash, who, in my opinion, I've never seen a trainer be more random. They look okay on paper, they don't run well. They look bad on paper, they run well. He runs an entry, one looks live, the other one doesn't, the other one wins. And as is always the case with Nova Rags, he's just way, way too far back. Though I would say in this situation, I don't know if he had trouble to start. What was Eric Cancel doing?
I realized it was an entry. Should this sort of been 18 to 1 instead of 8 to 1?
Well, this horse on its own would have been 30 to 1. I mean, on paper, but
even as part of an entry.
The Lynn Cash situation here has made it, in my opinion, very, very tough because I'm sorry, I don't believe that you can make logical decisions on his horses here based on what you see in the PPs because there's an incredible amount of, think about the horse that won the Kelso. He's never run a step since that race. I don't know what to say. And this horse on paper, and the other thing is, I don't know what to say. I just don't. I mean, I could have fallen into this by just using the entry, but I certainly would have assumed the one was more likely. But as I said in the post parade, on paper he can't win. He's probably the one that will win, and sure enough.
1A, 8, 9, 3, 8 to 1 to start off the late pick four. We'll have the prices when we come back. We're going to look ahead to the weekend and road to the Kentucky Derby. Picking back up in South Ozone Park. Back-to-back runner-up finishes. Can Arctic Arrogance with an equipment change get over the hump and get a W on the Derby Trail tomorrow? We'll have a preview when we come back.
An obligatory goes by the ball. Then wins it. Here comes Malathon. Here comes Clariere on the outside. And it's got to be Clariere. Nest. Much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. And Elite Power gets up to win the sprint. Outside it's Malathon coming to the wire. Who's it gonna be? Here's the wire. Oh, the witch has come true. That one's for you, Cody.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
It's a domineering display by the ultra-talented McKenzie. McKenzie in a dominant performance.
300 Wanda, 300,000. 275, medium 275,000. 75, but to get 75, 275,000. 250, I'm Ralph now, 250,000. Here, but to get $200,000.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
You're watching America's Day of the Races on FS2. Good to be back with you. It's brought to you in part where you can play it all. Go to NairaBets.com and bet any track, anywhere. anytime. If you played this late pick four at Aqueduct and you're still alive, well done. $19 start. Meanwhile, we're back at Oaklawn. Race 5 kicks off the late pick 5 sequence. $30,000 claiming sprint to begin the sequence. 6 furlongs in here. We're at the 8 is the 9-5 favorite, Tap It Spirit.
And I guess makes sense dropping down in this race. Was claimed for $40,000, now running for $30,000. Was claimed. The problem is his best races were at Indiana, but maybe you could argue it was just over his head in the races that he ran here.
Here's Devil's Tower to kick off the post parade. 7-time winner.
Yeah, he looked like he was over his head.
Tis Hot and Dusty, a 6-year-old for Robertino Diodoro.
Diodoro's always a dangerous guy. This is one horse he has not had a ton of success with in his good races at Remington.
Had some good figures at Del Mar as well. But yeah, the recent couple, not that great. Dilettante, Isaac Castillo.
This one's claimed off a synthetic race, but has okay form out of town at Fort Erie on the dirt.
Here's the 5 Cathedral Beach, Ricardo Santana Jr. for Diodoro.
Horse that we saw win up in Saratoga, actually. We've seen in George Weaver's barn, Eddie Barker's barn. Bad race last time, drops down.
Jerry's 80 at 17-1.
Prairie Meadows' form was good, but the last race, disaster.
Emerald Express, trained by Randy Morse.
Yeah, cuts back in distance and drops down.
The favorite, here's Tap It Spirit at 2-1.
I mean, I'm not sure why this horse is 2-1, Greg, but I guess just drops down. Did chase a pretty quick pace that fell apart last time.
And Lost in Limbo, been off since June of last summer.
I don't love the layoff, but he's a big price. He comes out of a monster race where the winner improved 13 buyer points. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th horses all won, improving 6, 17, and 25 buyer points. He's my long shot play.
And he has speed, and he's coming off the bench, so going to be probably pretty sharp out of the gate, trying to assert himself at that 12-1 price. Want to remind everyone, playing with Naira Bets, you can earn a $15 bonus today by playing. Bet $50 each on Aqueduct in Oaklawn Park. You'll get that $15 bonus in your account whether you win or lose. You do have to opt in to take advantage. Go to Naira Bets, opt in, and get some extra money in your account. So pick 5 starts here. I thought there were a few in here that looked interesting, and this sequence is not easy. I liked a horse in that Barber Road race, actually. I like Tonka Warrior quite a bit.
I know one horse I don't like is Barber Road. I think he's ridiculous. I'm not betting super slow horses. I had the 1 and 7 live, the 1 scratched, and Tonka Warrior's the 7. So I'm with you, buddy.
Yeah, Beast Sud coming out. That's in the 8th race we're talking about, their feature today. So just a couple of minutes to post on that good track at Oaklawn. Meanwhile, back in the winner's circle at Aqueduct to kick off the late pick 4. Steinbeck with a big performance here for Len Cash, Jaime Torres. This horse, Frosted stands for 10,000, went for 650,000 at one point. Had not had the recent form at all. Chateau got the lead by himself in here, Andy, when we talked about there being 3 potential speed horses unable to hang on late, and surprising finish.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to know, and Maggie's not wrong. This horse has done his best running at Aqueduct. And this is, my friend David Argona said to me, I guess a different horse that shows up at Aqueduct, but I just have never seen anything like this. I mean, you understand this horse ran at Aqueduct in the end of October, showed up a week later at Churchill, was beaten 20 lengths. Showed up 2 weeks after that at Laurel, was beaten 13 lengths. Then went to Mountaineer at 3-5 and got up to win by a length and ran a 74 buyer. Then went to Mahoning Valley where he lost with a 67 buyer. Then he came here and probably just ran about a 90 buyer. I don't know how you handicap horses like that. Obviously not anything I've known. It's like the game is changing all the time, but I've never seen a trainer that's harder to read than Len Cash, ever.
Back at Oaklawn here, pick 5 coming up. We're going to check in with Paulie here. Paul, 9-5, Tap It Spirit. That one race that really stands out, that huge effort at Indiana back in October.
Yeah, and it's a number that just sticks out on the page, and I guess that's what's drawing the public to him right now is favoritism at 9-5. Can he clear this field? You know, he's the kind of horse that kind of needs the lead, needs everything his own way on the front end. If you really look, he's not kind of horse that kind of passes horses as well. So You know, he's got to get to the front end. He probably is the speed in here. You know, the one is interesting. It's Chris Hartman. Is this horse getting bet because of Chris Hartman? Because the last time this horse ran, didn't do much running, and I can understand 4 for 8 here at Oaklawn Park, 2 for 3 over wet surfaces. Maybe that's the reason why. I just, at 2 to 1, I look for somewhere else. You know, I mean, there's some other horses in here. You know, Andy mentioned Delante, decent form, and you know this horse is 11 of 14 in the exotics on a wet track. So another player in here. I thought this race was super deep. I'm going to give you my long shot. I like the 7 Emerald Express. If you go back and you look at some of his races, he got claimed for $30,000 out of the Maker Barn by Juan Cano. Juan Cano threw basically a zero burger at the whole Churchill meet. I was there, and maybe had 1 win or so. And this horse was 4th to Tonal Impact. We've obviously seen what Tonal Impact has been doing. He's been winning races by bunches. This horse comes back, cuts back in distance on the drop, and come from off the pace. You know, when you have a good trainer like Randy Morris, listen, he's 1 for 30-something on the meet at 3%. He's a very good trainer. Sometimes you have to try to drop to get to score. And I think you're getting a huge overlay on the 7 here at 18 to 1.
Thanks, Paulie. Yeah, he is interesting, I thought, too, at a big price on the board of getting back to sprinting, that cut back in distance. We're going to look at one of the Diodoro runners in here, the 2. Tis Hot and Dusty, and we're going to go 3 starts back. That was a win. It was a Remington. Got an 80 buyer in that victory, and 7-1 right now, big price.
I'm not saying the horse can't win, and I'm never going to say Diodoro can't win. But one thing I have seen with consistency in these past 2 years where we've been covering Oaklawn extensively, even 3 years, Remington Park form almost never gets reproduced. So I am not interested in betting horses off of races at Remington unless they've shown me they can. It's not like Lynn Cash. See, him, the worse they run at Mahoning Valley and Mountaineer, the better they are here. This Remington Park form does not hold up.
Let me ask you this, though. You go a couple of races further back, and not far back from him at all, and he was successful and ran big numbers at Del Mar.
Correct. I understand that, but those were not for Diodoro. And the horse, it's just sort of random, right? I mean, and his 2 Oaklawn races for Diodoro were pretty lousy. I mean, he was 3 to 1, 2 back, and a 74 buyer. Listen, nothing will shock me. I think that the 8 is the likeliest winner, but is over bet. I'm trying the 9 as the other horse off a layoff, but I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not certainly not talking about off long shots.
I thought the other Diodoro interesting too. The 5 Cathedral Beach with Santana Jr. There he is stepping in, 4-year-old, second off the claim. Pick 5 starts here from Hot Springs. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. One of them in the center stumbled badly. It was either Jerry's 80 or Emerald Express. Devil's Tower, Tis Hot and Dusty, and Lost in Limbo race out. Then comes Cathedral Beach, Tappett's Spirit, and Dilettante. At the back of the pack are Emerald Express and Jerry's 80. Devil's Tower puts ahead in front of Lost in Limbo. These 2 now move away. Devil's Tower a half length. Tappett's Spirit is moving up 3 wide. He's about to get into 3rd and 2 from the front. Inside of him is Cathedral Beach and Tis Hot and Dusty at the rail. Dilettante has dropped back to 5 behind, joined and passed by Emerald Express. 7 lengths last to Jerry's 80, Devil's Tower, and Lost in Limbo. These 2 are matching strides. Devil's Tower inside, Lost in Limbo outside. They are 3 lengths in front of Tappett's Spirit. Then comes Tis Hot and Dusty. Devil's Tower cuts the corner. Lost in Limbo to the outside. They continue to match strides. Devil's Tower now a half length in front. At the rail, Tis Hot and Dusty is on the move. Tappett's Spirit has 4 lengths to catch Devil's Tower, who's now in charge. Devil's Tower has opened up 4 lengths. Tis Hot and Dusty, Emerald Express with a late run. Devil's Tower in front. Devil's Tower won by 4. Tis Hot and Dusty was 2nd, Emerald Express 3rd. Tappett's Spirit finished 4th.
Devil's Tower, Chris Hartman barn, Francisco Arrieta. 5-year-old gets the 8th win of his career. 5 for 9 at Oaklawn.
Ready was the speed.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Is it possible that I'm just dreaming? That maybe actually I'm home and I'm sleeping and none of these things are actually happening, or they're happening in an alternate universe? As you said to me, Nick Rustawire, and he's 5 to 2.
I don't understand that. Good. A lot smarter handicappers than us out there at Oaklawn.
Clearly, everybody's smarter than us, Greg. That's been fairly established. But and fairgrounds form, by the way, has not been particularly lethal at Oaklawn. That's being kind. Well, I don't know what to say. I know that Chris Hartman wins at 40%. And unfortunately, what's happened in the game is it's become much more about trainers than horses.
You are in the twilight zone, by the way.
It's
been confirmed.
I mean, this horse is 5-2. And one like he should have been 2-5.
Pick 5 underway. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. Late pick 3 ahead from Aqueduct. 6.5 furlong sprint coming up. That's a look at Hydra. Should be one of your favorites by the time the gates open. At back-to-back wins and tried much tougher company last time out. That did not pan out. Back to a more realistic spot today for the 7-year-old mare. We'll be back.
Harris Farms, proudly standing Smiling Tiger, sire of Grade 1 winner Spiced Perfection.
And Spiced Perfection wins the Grade 1 La Brea.
Now with $12 million in progeny earnings and dominant performances from Don't Think, Just Do It.
Don't think, just do it. Burst away. Don't think, just do it. Wins.
As well as impressive newcomer Tiger Spice.
Not going to get to Tiger Spice.
Book before December 31st for a special discounted fee of just $4,000. Smiling Tiger, a leading California sire, standing at Harris Farms.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. It's brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. We got the 7th next in New York. 6.5 furlong sprint, $40,000 claiming race, and this is the one who inherits the rail alarm clock. 6-1. It's been first or second in 10 of 16 career starts. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Well, yeah, Greg, as you alluded to, a bit of an overachiever. Number 2, Alarm Clock, is the last time we saw her, she was in against males, and she was against the track a bit too that day, where it seemed as though you wanted to be inside, and she was on that 3-wide hunt throughout. We did see Oh Trouble come back and win against a tougher field yesterday with an 86 buyer. I thought it was, in retrospect, a very honest effort from this filly who comes in here looking the picture of health once again, is sharp too. I think she's a bit interesting in this spot, just given the fact that she has been running well for lower profile connections, which at the end of the day is going to help your price. We'll see how aggressive Heman Harkey chooses to be from the rail, because at times she is one that can be somewhat quick, and she also, her last win did come when she controlled an off-the-turf race. As number 6, Sister Annie, she'll be looking to reclaim some of the speed that she once had previously in her career. She definitely blew the start last time. It was just a disaster. I mean, she broke a touch slow, and therefore she was squeezed from either side, checked repeatedly, and then just never persevered with. We haven't seen her now in 2 months, though, and while she comes back looking fit, solid, healthy, great coat to her. She does come back wearing front wraps, and I just wish she was moving a little bit freer behind. She's kind of walked out of it a little bit. She's one I want to watch in the warm-up, but usually when they're a little bit stickier behind, that's when you have those poor beginnings, and I just feel like she is a filly that her best running, mare, does come when she can be forward, and she'll be looking for a cleaner break this time around, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Approaching the 8-minute mark to post here in the 7th at Aqueduct. We'll get to a post parade in a moment. Winner's Circle, picture time for Devil's Tower, Chris Hartman, Francisco Arrieta, Darren Dares.
Dare I say, they knew.
They did. Wow.
I said to Greg, I asked Greg what morning line was. He said, well, I'm not sure how much I trust the morning line, but they made the horse 8-1. And I said, really, what price would you made him? And you said to me, 8-1.
Yeah.
And I agree. But clearly we're bad morning line makers, something I think we're both ready to admit. But I don't know how you can imagine. And I know that Chris Harton's been winning with everything. But the thing is, the 84 buyer he ran 4 back is an aberration, basically. And he's been short prices recently and run bad races. So unless I just completely missed something, I completely missed something.
5 for 9 now at Oaklawn. That's really the only thing you find that really kind of stood out for him. Gets it done and likes an off track as well. 3 for 4 in the off going. 5-2 start to that pick 5 as we're back here in New York. And a look at the 3 here, Hydra, who would put together those back-to-back wins, and then they tried pretty tough company with this 7-year-old mare.
Right, and comes out of a race where 3 horses ran. Now, the horse had no excuse in there was Baba, who was able to control on the front end that day. I thought that maybe Customer Experience ran the best race of all of them. I don't know what to do with Hydra, but you're right. She was way above her head last time. I just don't know where her race 2-back came from. She's sort of random. I like the 6 in the aromatic he talked about a little bit, so that's the race I was talking about.
So, yeah, here's Hydra, Customer Experience, Baba in this one as well. And Hydra would pick up 2nd win in a row from a stalking position. But as you said, you figure that we'd never really seen from her before.
I mean, we're seeing this a lot, sort of randomness of good performances. I was surprised she won this day. I was surprised she was only 5-1, to be honest. She had run 2 races recently that just weren't very good, but she got an excellent ride by Dylan, worked out a good trip and got it done. Probably Customer Experience ran the best race, at least I thought. Far and away the worst of them was the horse who ran 3rd, Baba, who really had everything her own way in there. She may be the speed again, but I don't think it really matters, or it doesn't matter to me. I'm not betting Baba. She's 5-1. I'm going to a different direction, though. I liked Sister Annie a lot last time out off the claim. It was a very interesting claim, and she just was completely eliminated at the start against much better horses.
All right, favorite Customer Experience, who we'll get to in a moment. We start with Alarm Clock, Heeman Harkey.
I'm not going to argue with what Maggie was saying, and I think this horse ran against the boys and better horses last time. She's in good form. She should be somewhat forward. I think she has a chance.
So here's Hydra, 10-time winner.
Obviously, a lot of people like her more than I do. Get Manny Franco, never bad to pick him up, and drop in class.
1 race with blinkers. They come off today for Baba.
But she's got to go in this race. There's no other way she can be ridden.
It's cold in Dehere, also taking blinkers off after 1 race.
Linda Rice had this horse in good form, but that form seems to have completely disappeared off a trainer change, though.
3-1, Sister Annie making her 5-year-old debut.
As I said, I like Sister Annie. She's dropping down a reasonable spot. She's got back form. Cantermachi's looking for their 2nd win today.
The favorite, here's Customer Experience, 8-time winner.
She's not the most reliable type, but when she's good, she's good.
2nd beat a length in that Hydra race last time out, and then outside Triple P, 24-1.
Even in the Twilight Zone, this one would be a surprise. Probably an underlay at 24-1. Probably double that price by post time.
5 minutes away, 7th race coming up. Let's go to Maggie with a special guest.
Yeah, please be joined here by Kevin Quinn, the VP of Sales and Hospitality for the New York Racing Association. And Kevin, not only do we have the rescheduled Withers and the Jimmy Winkfield tomorrow, but we have something for the fans in the Spiked Festival. Talk a little bit about that. I know we had one at Belmont, which was a big success.
Yeah, so, we're bringing a festival we usually hold at Belmont to Aqueduct for the first time, Spiked Fest, and you can learn more at spikedfest.com. The event will run from 1:30 to 5 o'clock tomorrow on the second floor at Aqueduct, and it includes unlimited tastings during that time of canned cocktails, spiked seltzers, craft beer. It runs the whole spectrum. So. For our viewers, if you'd like to attend and save $10, you can use offer code NYRA SPK23. That's NYRA SPK23, and you can purchase at spikedfest.com. And should be a great event and a great way to kind of pregame for the big game the following day.
Yeah, and not only can they enjoy those lovely cocktails, cider to boot, my favorite, but they can watch some live racing too, right?
Yeah, they'll be able to watch the live racing from the grandstand, and everyone who attends will also get a race program. So it should be great.
Well, Kevin, looking forward to a big day here at NYRA. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Maggie. Again, that's spikedfest.com.
If you haven't gotten that, Greg, spikedfest.com.
I are going to be drunk on the show. Just letting people know right now. Expect Greg and I to be imbibing a lot. We got time. We're on till 1:50. Then we're off till 4. So we've got a solid, between changes and, of course, a deep makeup change, a good hour and 45 to really drink it up.
And we start on FS2 tomorrow, 12:30. Then we'll kick over to FS1 at 4. We're gonna have we have a job for the PAs tomorrow.
Carrying us on and off the set.
Tasting fest. 4 minutes away here from the 7th here in New York. Let's go to Jonathan.
Yeah, this is one of those races where, when I looked at it at first, I thought the 2, 3, 7 were the most likely winners in this group. Horses that if you were trying to tie up the race from a multi-race standpoint, you would try to lock into. But when you're looking at this from a singular race and who I want to bet to win, the price is going to have a big impact on that. I think the 7's live, customer experience. Just betting the horse down a little bit. I think Hydra's live. Betting that horse down a little bit as well. I'm going to ultimately pick the 2 Alarm Clock. I like the price at 6-1. Horse has some tactical speed from the inside. I'm hoping for an aggressive ride away from there. Get that position, keep that position on the inside. And if you look at the last race going 6 furlongs, this horse lost a lot of ground. Was wide kind of all the way around there. So the idea of another half furlong is not really a concern for me. And also, if you look at the pace figures, or how fast this race was run early, Alarm Clock got faster as the race went on. So going 6 furlongs, losing all of that ground, and still finished her race up really well. If she can find herself forwardly placed here, going to 6.5, be able to save ground, I don't think the distance is going to be any issue. She's got some nice races at 7 furlongs as well. I'm going to pick the 2 Alarm Clock at 5-1.
All right, a price moderately anyway, down from that inside on the rail with Heeman Harkey. Favorite remains customer experience, so the 7 here at 2-1. As we're 2 minutes to post coming up.
Yeah, I picked the race 6-7 too. Didn't have any real issues with any of them. I do prefer the 6. I just, talking about Sister Annie, I thought she was a very interesting claim at Keeneland. And I like the fact that a horse who has some good back form, they were aggressive and put her in a tough spot. And she just got completely eliminated at the start. So it doesn't matter what she did in the race because she was never given a chance. And now she doesn't come back for another 2+ months. But when she does, they're not dropping her. They're still keeping her in a a higher claiming level, so they're not giving up on her. And if I'm going to bet her last time, I certainly have to bet her in this field.
Minute to post coming up here in the 7th. Let's go back downstairs to Maggie.
Well, looking at the warm-ups, definitely number 2 in here, Alarm Clock, solidified my choice as her being my pick. She warmed up beautifully, framed herself up well. Watching him and Harkey on her, it just, it looked like he had confidence in her too. So I really like what I'm seeing. And as JK accurately pointed out, she's going to be the best price of any of these logical type of horses. But let's take a look at your current 2-1 favorite in number 7, Customer Experience. She's one that, I'll be honest, I never really like physically. She always just looks like she has no hind end. Like she just lacks a lot of muscle mass and conditioning behind there, which typically, that's what you expect with a horse that doesn't really break that well. And she comes with her 1 run. It takes her a while to get into stride, but she gets there. She looks fine off the claim here for Jamie Begg. But again, I just thought, my thought process was the same as Jonathan's in that why not take the bigger price on just another horse that I think can win.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Down to 9-2, Alarm Clock.
The thing I don't get is Hydra. 5-2. I don't get this at all. Manny Franco.
What do you think she should be?
4-1, 9-2. What price was she morning line? Was she super?
5-2, yeah.
Oh, she was. David, never wrong. So, yeah, no, he's right. Okay. As usual, David nailing the morning line. You had the 4 6-1. You had the 2 5-1.
And again, bettors love those W's. 10 wins, 2 wins, or last 3.
He actually had her favored over at his customer experience, David. Wow.
Yeah, it was 3-1.
He's not right, but he's close. I would never have seen that.
Chris Griffin, here we go, the 7th from Aqueduct.
All set. And they're off. From in between horses, Baba right out to the front. It's Baba with early speed, Triple P up on the far outside. And in between horses, here comes Sister Annie to be part of the pace as well. At the rail, there's Alarm Clock, and they move quickly early there. 4 across the racetrack is now dropping back a touch as Triple P, so 3 across the course as they work up the backstretch. Hydra is now in the 5th position towards the back end of the field with the gray Customer Experience and the trailer. It's Cold into Hair. Sister Annie has now secured the front. It's Sister Annie with a head in front as they approach 4 furlongs left to go. Baba comes right back to the inside. Triple P lost a touch of ground but is re-rallying up on the outside 3 wide, 23 seconds flat for a pressured opening quarter mile. Hydra has worked to the outside, and Hydra and Manny Franco, they're on the move. They're in 4th. At the rail, tight Alarm Clock with nowhere to go. Customer Experience is starting to move closer, is now 3 off the lead, and also It's Cold into Hair has 5 lengths to make up as they approach a quarter mile left to go. Baba is back in front down to the inside. Triple P is stalling out in the center of the racetrack, and Hydra. Customer Experience, Alarm Clock now has that room if good enough. Baba is fending him off. Customer Experience is inching closer, and Alarm Clock is trying to launch that rally. Baba is almost there. It's Baba who's still finding more. Customer Experience is trying to make this close. Baba, Customer Experience. Baba, Customer Experience. Baba, game in victory. Baba gets it done over Customer Experience, Alarm Clock, and It's Cold into Hair in 1 minute 20.80 seconds.
Baba with the victory here at 5-1. Maddie over the 7-pound apprentice. Second off the claim, Oscar Barrera.
She gets loose on speed tracks and gives it up. She gets into a contested, relatively speaking, very quick pace here and draws off to victory. I'm telling you, Greg, I don't care what you say, I'm sleeping. Right now I'm sleeping, and this stuff is not actually happening.
4-7-2. It's a nightmare right now for Andy
Yes,
Serling.
right.
We'll see if it can turn into a better dream with more races coming up. Maddie over, Oscar Barrera, K5 stable. Not the way you would have thought that would have been a winning performance from Baba, but gets it done for the 6th win of her career. The prices when we come back. The feature still to come as well from South Ozone Park, and we'll preview the Withers coming up this weekend. Arctic Arrogance trying to put those back-to-back runner-up finishes on the Derby Trail behind them and get back in the win column. Stay with us. We'll be back.
History remembers moments of extraordinary strength, skill, and determination. True greatness is forged by those who fulfill their destiny.
Would you believe that champions weren't measured by rings, but by a crown? That the history books were written on dirt? That the greatest of all time was a horse?
He is moving like a tremendous machine.
Experience the magic at this year's Belmont Stakes as we honor the 50th anniversary of Secretariat's legendary Triple Crown triumph. Join the celebration at Belmont Park on Saturday, June 10th. Tickets on sale now at BelmontStakes.com.
Every hair, every muscle, every contour, every pulse. In the juvenile.
Essential quality have won.
In the Belmont.
Essential quality has won the Belmont Stakes.
Well named.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Welcome to America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Those just joining us as well on Bally Sports SoCal and San Diego live coverage from Aqueduct and from Oaklawn Park. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Our feature in New York still to come, and the feature out at Oaklawn Barber Road, who was in last year's Kentucky Derby, still eligible. He's won over $500,000 at Oaklawn. He has not yet won his first allowance condition.
I don't know if he's favored to get through his non-winners of one in 2023. He's just got no speed. Never been a fan. We'll see.
We're both picking against him today in that race. That's the feature from Oaklawn. We'll get to that coming up in just a little bit. Let's go back to Hot Springs Race 6 next. $20,000 maiden claiming 2-turn mile. And not a ton of form to go off in this spot. We're going to begin in a moment with Ransom Painter. Cut back in distance last start. Now we'll stretch back out. Showed speed sprinting, and now the blinkers come off.
Yeah, but improved sprinting and now stretches out. Don't quite get the logic. 6-1. Wow. Speed.
Thinking and drinking 2 starts has shown very little.
I prefer drinking and then thinking. How about you, Greg?
His thought process seems to improve when I do.
Yeah. Definitely I could use that here.
15-1. Rocco Bowen for Tim Martin. This is start number 3. Tough to make a case for. Line to gain, 18-1.
Does drop down a little bit off a complete non-effort here at a mile and 16th.
And we talked about Barber Road. John Ortiz going to send him out. This horse from that same barn, a little interesting at 8-1.
I like this horse in here. I thought it'll be forward. He's dropping down and betting him.
Uptown Social, can this horse get to the front?
Over the one Ransom Painter, probably not, but he is the biggest threat to him early.
Dam did win multiple times routing on grass. We'll see if this horse, first time going beyond 6 furlongs, can last. 8 straight, Kenny McPeak.
I'm going to use this one as my other horse in here, the 8.
7-2 right now. I thought this was potentially the favorite in this field. Gone again, first-time starter Robertino Diodoro.
First time. I only looked at their sprints. Not great numbers with maiden claimer firsters at Oaklawn. Taking some money, though, but it's Diodoro.
19-1 Santino's Fantasy.
I mean, I'm not sure this horse should be 19-1 in this field, but I didn't like him, but big price.
And probably a logical favorite. Brad Cox, second time out, dropping in class, potentially a key race last out.
I guess, I guess it's possible. I didn't love the race. He does have decent numbers, though, stretching out his maidens, even in their second starts, but in general as well. I wouldn't take 5-2, but I could see him winning.
Drops from 75 maiden claiming to 20 today for start number 2. Matty Olver, the 7-pound apprentice, unable to get the lead on a speed horse, but able to get the win anyway.
Yeah. Congratulations to Matty getting the win. She did the right thing. They were moving up front, and she just kept on rolling. Don't know where the race came from. It's another horse that on random occasions has run okay, but for the most part, when she has things her own way, she doesn't seem to complete the deal. But today, when she fought hard early, she was very impressive. That's her experience. She didn't make any real dent.
Ends in an 0-for-8 streak for Baba. Second off the claim win for the barn. Oscar Barrera, Matty Olver, continuing her very young career, getting another W on this 5-year-old mare. So here's the late pick 5 to this point. Movie Moxie. 680 to begin it. Steinbeck, even though it's part of an entry, tough one to find. Baba with the recent form, a little difficult to find.
Yeah, I mean, I singled the first winner, and I could have thrown in Lynn Cash, but without an all, I couldn't have had Baba.
Back to Oaklawn. 3 minutes away here from this 6th. Here's the Kenny McPeak horse, 8 straight. 7-2 right now as we go to Paulie.
Yeah, and I think that he's the one to beat in here. When you look at some of his races, he was behind Freezing Point, Garuvan, a horse that had come back to win. His last race, he broke a tiny bit flat-footed. Nick Juarez is actually a lot more aggressive. He's obviously the rider of the 8 straight, and they Lasix last time for the first time, and the horse just didn't break well, kind of make a little bit of a middle move and then flattened out. I would think with a better break today, the horse will be involved. The issue that you have here with the and the 11, your two favorites in here, kind of in agreement with Andy. When I watched the replay of the 11, he didn't break outward. He didn't break inward. He was just slow. He didn't get left in the gate. It just says last away. Yeah, he was last away, and kind of, it says late energy. That'd be late energy if I was running against Usain Bolt, and Usain Bolt decided to walk on the way home, and I was running home. So I get it. It's Brad Cox dropping all the way down, but the 11 for me, I would tread a little bit lightly. You know, the first time starting here, the 9 gone again is getting money here for Diodoro. Now, Diodoro's been on a little bit of a cold spell after starting very, very hot. He's had a couple favorites, odds-on favorites, lose in the past programs. A couple today, too, as well. You know, the 1 Ransom Painter is taking some interesting money, and I'm wondering if the blinker's off. Francisco Arrieta, Randy Morse, we almost got that long shot to run a good third in that last race. I think Randy's horses are going to start coming around, so I think the 1 is live in here. I'm going to go with the 8, Jonathan. Very, very tepid in here because I thought this race is just one of those races hard to figure out.
Yeah, this is a tough race, and a lot of times in these situations, when you don't really know where to go, sometimes it's nice to look at the board for a clue. Now, I'm not excited about betting the 1 at 7-2 just because on paper that price doesn't necessarily suggest, doesn't kind of line up with what this horse has done. But I will say this, I mean, Ransom Painter taking the blinkers off, stretching out, this horse looks like he's probably loose. And I think at these kind of lower levels, going long when they're all going to be kind of tired and they're all not the highest level of thoroughbred, I think being in front and being loose can allow a horse like this to get a little bit brave. I think Ransom Painter is going to be out on the front end and is going to be loose. And I did want to kind of point out to the 9 horse Gone Again and something that Paul kind of mentioned. This is a stat that I stole from leading owner, 10 Strike Racing, Marshall Graham, let me know that since January 27th, Diodoro is 1 for 28. And for a trainer who wins a ton of races at Oaklawn Park, 25% for the meet. Overall, he's 25%, and he hasn't won a race. He's won 1 race since January 28th. He's really gone cold here. I have no interest in the 9 here who's taking a little bit of money.
Not to mention, that's a cold streak for a very good barn, but a first-timer trying to win going long on dirt, too. Not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet that horse. I don't understand Ransom Painter at all. First of all, he should take some pressure from the 7 Uptown Social, but even regarding that, he was completely loose going long in 2 lower-level claiming races 2 and 3 back. He lost by 37 1/4 lengths and 36 3/4, so 74 combined lengths. He showed some speed and tired at 6. 7's chasing him. Look at his, now I don't know because you can see enormous price drops at Oaklawn, so maybe by post time the 6 will be a shorter price. But looking at a horse like the 6 Commander Rex and who he ran against and the figures he ran, why is he 5-1 and the 1's 4-1?
Yeah, the 1's, as you said, look, had this opportunity before and proved he could not route. And it was at this level. It was with the same, well, no, I guess blinker's on, but still, blinker's coming off today. Maybe he just relaxes more, and that's the feeling that he's going to be able to get. I think the 7 is a major problem for him as well, just in terms of if he gets the lead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. If somebody told me they were betting the 1 and he was 20-1, I would say good luck, and I'd say he's a big price. I'm not sure why you like him, but fine. And I obviously respect Jonathan. I just feel like I'm looking at a different set of PPs. I'm seeing a horse that has unequivocally shown he can't get a distance, and I don't understand how the 7 isn't forward in here. I don't think he's completely loose. I'm mystified as to why he's 4-1. I like the 6 and used him with the 8 and a little 11.
5-2 favoritism does go to that 8 who just entered your screen there. Kenny McPeek's 8 straight, lowest level this 3-year-old has been at yet. He was in those restricted maiden specials at Churchill before dropping for 50 in his Oaklawn debut last time out, now in for 20. And the Brad Cox runner, at least there's some upside. And he didn't take a lot of money first time out, too, for Brad Cox. I guess that's why he was in for a tag. But usually from that part.
No, he's a good point, though. He took no money at all.
Yeah, he usually gets some support. Start number 2. We'll see if he shows a little more, stretching out from 6 furlongs. Vic Stauffer the call, the late pick 4 from Oaklawn.
They're at the post. They're off. Santino's Fantasy and Ransom Painter, both out of sprint races, go to the front from 8 straight. Commander Rex, Uptown Social in a very tight spot. Then to the outside and Friday Night Social. Then comes Gone Again, followed by Thinking and Drinking, and the trailer is Line to Gain. Ransom Painter well off the rail and in front by a length from Santino's Fantasy. Now Uptown Social is going to tug through and try to get through that spot at the rail, but he didn't get it as Ransom Painter now denies it at the rail. 2 lengths, 2, 8 straight, and Commander Rex. They're together and about 2.5 off the lead. Friday Night Soldier and Gone Again have 5 lengths to make up. They are 5 in front of Line to Gain. Thinking and Drinking is 12 lengths behind. Midway on the backstretch, the finish line is the 16th pole, and now Ransom Painter has left the rail open for Uptown Social to come through and challenge, so these two will match strides. Uptown Social inside, Ransom Painter outside. 2 lengths to Santino's Fantasy. Then comes Commander Rex, 4th at the rail and only 2 from the front. 8 straight is an all-in 5th. He's got 3.5 to come. Gone Again is 4 off the lead. 3 back to Line to Gain. Not today for Friday Night Soldier. Far back to Thinking and Drinking. Ransom Painter back in front clear. It is Ransom Painter at the quarter pole. A 3-length advantage now from to the outside in 8 straight, but he's just been joined and passed by Line to Gain, who is coming on with every stride, and you better take a look at the onrushing Line to Gain. Ransom Painter has the lead. Line to Gain is right alongside. These two to the wire. Line to Gain, Ransom Painter, Line to Gain in front. Line to Gain beat Ransom Painter. Commander Rex was 3rd, 8 straight, finished 4th.
Line to Gain, Nevada Litfin, Isaac Castillo, able to get Ransom Painter, actually re-rallied and looked for a moment like he's going to win this race.
Game has passed me by. I'm clearly, this is clearly a Twilight Zone moment for me. Listen, Line to Gain gets it done, made a big run, not sure where it came from, but was dropping down. Ransom Painter, though, ran a winning race. It was an insanely fast pace, and unlike the other times he went long, when he was beating 74 lengths, he finished right to the wire here. The money was right on the one.
12-1 on your winner at Oaklawn to start their pick 4. We get the feature at Aqueduct coming up next, and there's the Wind Machine. 6-year-old Warrior's Revenge. He's won 8 of his last 9. He had won 7 in a row at Finger Lakes. See if he can do it again with Manny Franco coming up.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the immortal Secretariat. A 6-time graded stakes winner from ages 2 to 4, and the fastest 3-year-old of his crop over 10 furlongs.
He's so impressive today, the others didn't even have a prayer. Catholic Boy rolls in the run. Happy Travers.
Dual surface Grade 1 winner Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back at America's Day at the Races. Thanks for being with us. Program brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, for the love of the race. Visit americasbestracing.net. Today featured coming up at Aqueduct. We'll get to that 8th coming up in a moment. Saturday, of course, we pick back up on the road to the Kentucky Derby. Trail continues with the Grade 3 Withers, rescheduled from that canceled Saturday last week because of that frigid weather. Grade 3, mile and an eighth, and it's our ABR race of the week, and potentially make or break for Arctic Arrogance, who has had back-to-back starts where it looked like he was primed to roll right on by in the Grade 2 Remsen, in the Jerome, had to settle for second in both.
Maybe this is a prep for the Preakness, right? Last year's winner won the Preakness. He's not a horse that's shown the ability to rate and then finish and win. He needs to control. Now, this race being redrawn actually helped him in that sense, because even though he's facing the same field plus one horse with lack speed, the speed is in the far outside on Diamo Firenze. He was inside of him last time. So maybe he can get the lead from that one, but you have to imagine they're going to be aggressive with Andiamo Firenze, which makes his life tougher. I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's a really good horse. I just don't really like him in this race. I thought he was going to take some pace pressure.
You would think he's going to have to with the presence of that horse. Two is outside as well. We'll see maybe more ground, too. He ran very good, obviously, at a mile and an eighth.
No, he's a very nice horse. I think he's the most talented horse, at least from what we've seen so far in this race. But whether or not that means he's going to win here, I don't know.
Race 9, tomorrow's card, Grade 3 Withers. We'll have live coverage for you. Right now, it's the feature on this Friday afternoon card. And there's a look at more Grateful. One of many contenders coming up. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, and while Warrior's Revenge, he is the horse to beat, so to speak. As you mentioned, Greg, I mean, he's a horse that's nearly one half of his career starts. Let's just take a look at, first here in the paddock, the two horses that have made the best impression on me, and one of them is number 3, More Grateful. Now, I don't love the fact that he's had a little trouble sticking to the racetrack now as a 6-year-old and making his 22nd start. But in his last 2 efforts, both of which for Michelle Giangiulio, has faced far better fields for the most part than what he's facing here. I mean, much respect to the New York breds, but they're just a notch above the class that he faces here. Physically, he looks great. You know, last time too, it was a quick pace that held together as he was off the layoff, and he just seemed as though he was spinning his wheels a bit. And I think with that tightener under his belt, which it shows here in the paddock, he could be a bit more competitive. He's one, though, that I want to watch and circle back to in the warm-up. I don't love the way he kind of moves here in the paddock, but I've thought that about him before, and I've liked what I've seen out on the racetrack subsequently. As we'll take a look at number 7, Bold Journey. Maybe it was a little bit of an optical illusion last time, but on the surface of things, I thought he ran well behind a very talented New York bred in Today's Flavor, who ran away with the field. Now, all the horses that took early shots at him, they didn't stick around. So despite him going gate to wire, I think it just showed his superiority over the field, but it also drew in some closers, in which Bold Journey was one of them, but he did have that disastrous type of beginning. He just kind of broke slow, then he was squeezed back, and then he was actually steadied at the quarter pole by Silly K, who took his spot from him. Again, he makes a tremendous impression here in the paddock. I've liked him a lot before, and he does tend to come up short most of the times, but maybe his last race and his appearance here means that he's stepping in the right direction. Jeff Englehart will send out 2 horses here. Let's talk about the longer layoff of the 2, and number 8, Scacciatore, as he comes back here. We haven't seen him since April of last year, 10 months ago. And while he looks fit enough, he just could look a touch better in his coat. It just feels as though he's going to need a race likely to round kind of back into his best form. And that's kind of what he's shown us in the past, too, that a lot of times he takes a start or 2 to kind of get going again. So I'll take the wait-and-see approach with Scacciatore here today. If anything, I like Jeff's other horse, based upon appearances, a bit more in number 6, Victory Built. Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Yeah, Jeffrey Englehart, the 6 Victory Built, the speedster, Scacciatore, who on occasion has shown speed, but has shown he can be very effective sitting off the pace as well. That was the case last time out. Post parade coming up. Just heard the call to post behind us, approaching the 5-minute mark to post here for our Friday feature. And we start with Brew Pub, a two-time winner from 34 starts.
Not sure what scenario there is for him to win. He'd need a lot of pace, but that would probably favor others who are better.
Silly Key. Been first or second in 9 of 21 tries.
And closed with Bold Journey last time, who I don't think he had as much of a tough trip as Maggie does, but he definitely had a better trip than Bold Journey and lost to that one.
More Grateful. This horse had a race January 22 in the slop that was out of this world.
Yeah, I picked him second here and think he's a major win candidate. He came off a long layoff last time and ran against absolute monsters. He makes a lot of sense at a price.
Here's the Win Machine. 8 of his last 9, he's gotten his picture taken.
I picked him to win. I did not think he'd be 5-2. We'll see what price he is, but he is incredibly consistent.
Gemography, who's very quick, did not make the lead last start, but there were some quick runners in there.
Yeah, I thought he had a pretty good trip that day. It just didn't really finish, but he's got races that give him a chance.
Victory Built, one of 2 for, as you heard from Maggie, Jeffrey Engelhardt, speedster here.
Yeah, you would think he would be forward in this race. Whether or not he's good enough, I think he's a bit of an overlay, even though I didn't like him.
Bold Journey, the 2-1 favorite, the 7.
Yeah, I'm not his biggest fan. I hear what Maggie's saying, but he also had a lot of good things happen for him in that race. He's okay. I wouldn't bet him at 2-1, but he's okay.
From a 5-1 morning line, here's the 8 Scacciatore coming off a win. That was in April, long time ago.
He certainly has races that can win it for him. Problem is the long layup, and Jeffrey Engard's numbers off layups. Dirt sprints not very strong. 0-for-6 at Nairo.
And running with scissors actually was a former minor stakes place sprinter on dirt, but he seems like he's been better on turf these days.
Yeah, I mean, I find David Jacobson, his trainer, very random, so I'm never going to be surprised if off the claim he randomly runs a much bigger race. He does have at one time some dirt form that will give him a chance. He's a wild card. I didn't like him, but I won't be shocked when he makes his presence felt.
7-1 from that outside post. Jose Gomez will ride. You can experience the magic at this year's Belmont Stakes as we honor the 50th anniversary of Secretariat's legendary Triple Crown Triumph. Join the celebration at Belmont Park Saturday, June 10th. Tickets on sale now, belmontstakes.com. Be part of the action for that third and final leg of the Triple Crown.
You going to be there?
I absolutely will be there. Probably be working with you. Are we going to have a Triple Crown on the line on June 10th?
Well, I hope so. Fox is going to be covering it for the first time. I mean, how great would that be if our Fox, and they've been so great for us and for horse racing, honestly. I mean, I don't mind shilling for them. They've been great partners of ours, and having it the first time would be tremendous if their first time covering it live would be a Triple Crown. That would be a lot of
fun. No
question. It'd be great anyway, but that would be incredible.
Long way till we get there, but definitely want to be part of it, so get your tickets now. Meanwhile, 3 minutes away from this 8th here coming up.
A question for you.
Yes?
Are you surprised that Running with Scissors is taking as much money as he is? Well, he's 8-1 morning line, so once again, David Aragona, the legend, getting it right.
All over it. You thought this
Well, they're probably betting him a little bit because he has a couple of fast figures in the turf. That's probably why he's taking money.
I just think this horse is not the dirt horse he once was.
That's what I worry
and
about.
he's better on turf now.
That's what I think. No, that's what I think. I completely agree with you.
So, yeah, I agree with you.
But I'm just not going to be shocked if Jacob's in because he's got a lot of randomness to him. I feel like I've seen this before, right? Deja vu all over again. Warrior's Charge? Warrior's Revenge, excuse me.
This horse loves to hit that wire first, right? And it was a big moment for him to do it on this circuit.
I mean, he crushed the field. The horse that he beat, Riders Regret, as we said, came back and won last week and improved his Beyer figure 11 points. You know, he's not only is he 10 for 22, but he's 19 for 22, first, second, and third. And what I like about him is he's got that incredible consistency, but more wins than second and thirds combined. He shows up, he wins.
Incredible horse here. We'll see if he can keep it going. Don't see him that consistent that often. JK, your thoughts on him?
Yeah, look, I'm going to pick the 4 Warriors Revenge. The 4 and the 7 both are similar prices. I've got some thoughts about the 7. But the 4 Warriors Revenge has a lot of early speed, and he seems to have kind of taken a little bit of a step forward with the switch to Hennigs Barn. And for a horse that's been so consistent, the idea of this horse taking another step forward is kind of interesting. His pace figures were some of his fastest pace figures last time. A pace figure kind of says how fast Warriors Revenge ran early. And then his final figure seemed to kind of take a little bit of a jump up as well. So I guess that some might doubt when a performance kind of jumps up like that? Is it believable? But there's a reason. It's after a trainer change. So obviously Mark Hennig is doing something different with the 4 Warriors Revenge. And I just wanted to say, if you're interested in betting the 7 here at a very similar price, Bold Journey, my biggest issue with Bold Journey is Bold Journey does not like breaking. If you look, and you can hop on your Naira Bets account, you got about a minute and a half. You could probably watch 4 or 5 of Bold Journey's last races. This horse never breaks, always a step slow. And in a sprint race, 6 furlongs against another horse who I think is faster early and later, man, that's dangerous. And I'll tell you, one horse I know Maggie wanted to talk about, the 9 Running with Scissors. I got to be honest with you, Mag, anytime I have a pair of scissors in my hand, I like walk faster and run a little bit just because I like to break the rules.
Ooh, you're a bad boy, JK. No, I always revert back to first grade where they tell you to hold the point in your hand and walk very slowly with it pointing down. And I stress that to my girls as well because I don't like to run with scissors. I don't know. It was just this fear that was instilled in me as a young child. But I'm not necessarily fearing the horse. Andy said it. David Jacobson is random. And he makes my job very difficult because I can think his horses look great and they'll run up the track, and I can think they don't look that great and they'll win. That's kind of what I'm thinking about running with scissors, and that he does look fit off a bit of a layoff. He does look more like a turf horse, as his form would indicate, but he just doesn't look quite as good. He doesn't look as healthy in his coat and his conditioning. So wait and see approach, 9-1, drifting up. I don't want to necessarily talk anybody off of him at that sort of price, but again, I just can't confidently say that I have the most positive outlook on him, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Here we go.
4-3. I boxed 3-4.
There he is. Warriors Revenge, the Finger Lakes sensation. He won 7 straight. That streak ended coming here, but then he came right back in the winner's circle. So 8 of 9 overall for this 6-year-old. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call. The feature on this Friday card from Aqueduct.
And they're off. Speed towards the inside here from Silly Key. More Grateful is in the early mix, and there's Warriors Revenge. Warriors Revenge, and now Warriors Revenge with More Grateful. They're 1-2 with More Grateful now a neck in front. Just off of them is Gemography, who's taken that 3rd position away from Silly Key, who's now back to 4th. Up on the far outside, Bold Journey running with Scissors is going to have a wide run. Scocciatore is towards the back end of the field with Brew Pub and the trailer. Victory Built. On the front end, it's the long shot. More Grateful went 22-4 for a pumped-up opening quarter mile. Right to the outside is Warriors Revenge from 2nd. Gemography is fully extended from 3rd. Bold Journey, Eric Cancel, they're progressing 4 wide but making up some quick ground. Scocciatore is in between rivals, needs somewhere to go. At the rail, back for more is Silly Key as well. Lescano nowhere to go at the rail right now as they approach a quarter mile left to go. Bold Journey is now in command. It's Bold Journey who kicks for home. The rail is open for Silly Key, who now bursts on through, is trying to rally on at the rail, but Bold Journey got the jump. It's Bold Journey who's up by 2. Silly Key down to the inside is now challenging Warriors Revenge for 2nd. Up on the far outside, here comes a late run here from Scocciatore, but Bold Journey is much the best. Inside the final 16th, now 3-4 lengths clear. Bold Journey wins this one easily. It's all Bold Journey, Silly Key 2nd, then Warriors Revenge, and Scocciatore in 1 minute 11.88 seconds.
Bold Journey comes up with the goods today and does so as the 5-2 co-favorite. Went off slight second choice.
He looks like the next stakes winner in Bill Mott's barn, doesn't he? Maybe New York bred stakes at least, but geez. I mean, this was ridiculous. Eric basically couldn't hold him. He just let him go around the 3/8 pole, made a 4-wide swoop around the field and won like he was an hour and a half the best in here. And he showed that he ran the better race than Silly Key after beating him last time, and he trounced him today.
Huge effort here from this 4-year-old son, a hard spun. Wow.
Jeez. It's a fast race today, too. Maybe the track's speeding up a little bit. I'm not sure.
1:11-4.
Wow.
And no one within striking distance of this horse. Mott, Eric Cancel, Wachtell Pantovel Stables, and huge race from Bold Journey. 7-2-4-8 here in the feature.
Impressive win for this horse. I think that's 2 today for Eric.
Bold Journey Money warranted here. It's late, though. Money shifted to Warriors Revenge, who went off the favorite. We'll have the prices. Nightcap still to come, and our feature from Oaklawn on the way. Stay with us.
The return of Sunday Silence.
Sunday Silence surges to the front. It's Yoshida in front. Yoshida takes charge at the top of the stretch, and Yoshida wins the Turf Classic.
Here comes Yoshida, storming home in the center with Gunnevera. Yoshida! Yoshida has won the Woodward.
The perfect balance. Yoshida.
We take pride in what we do.
For me, it's more of a passion than actual work. I'm an assistant trainer.
Carpenter.
I'm a peace officer.
I'm a jockey.
I'm a gardener.
I'm a groom.
Clocker.
Assistant starter. Trainer.
ESL teacher.
I love what I do.
There's so many jobs that come together every day. It's a collective effort that really makes this ball go round.
We are New York Racing! I couldn't imagine working anywhere else.
For me, riding horses in the morning is the best thing I can do.
New York Racing helps support my small business.
It's extremely important to the New York economy.
Like my dream come true.
This is like a big family.
We are New York Horse Racing.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Nairo Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Nairo Bets.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Regional networks out in SoCal and San Diego as well. Our program brought to you in part where you can play it all at Nairo Bets. Go to nairobets.com and bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Bold Journey. This was an impressive performance from this 4-year-old for the Belmont Barn.
Yeah, I mean, unless the track is speeding up, which it may well be, on the surface compared to earlier times. Really fast time. You know, I'm surprised this figure is in the 90s, and the buyer figures in the 90s. This is a horse that's rapidly improving. Wow. And I mean, the Belmont Barn, it just feels like, you know, whether it's down in Florida where his horses are running so well, or it's up here, the ones that Leanna Williford has, I mean, they're just running tremendously well. I didn't really like that mate, the horse that got put up in the maiden race, Jungfrau. Maybe we're supposed to move him up in the Withers tomorrow.
Pegasus.
Yeah.
Holy Bull.
I mean, their Breeders' Cup was sensational. Just firing. He's a pretty good trainer. He's had a pretty good career, but he's really firing on all cylinders right now.
Late pick 5, 1 leg to go. Some big numbers up there. We'll have the Will Pays coming up. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
It's great to see Belmont having such a nice kind of 6 months to the last year, but also a really nice day for you, Eric, as your second winner on the card was with Bold Journey right now. And a horse you rode last time, I thought ran well despite not breaking. You had him much closer to the pace today.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key today was keeping him in the clear. You know, I think that really helped me a lot. Last time he wasn't 100% comfortable with the kickback, but he still made a really nice run at the end. Today, like I said, I was able to keep him outside and clean, and he was happy with it.
He seems like a horse that, you know, he started off his career in an auspicious way, looked to be talented, lost his way a bit. But with your last 2 starts on him, does he feel like he's kind of regaining that confidence and a New York bred that could be effective in some stakes races?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, today I was very surprised with the way that he ran. I still had a horse in the tank, you know, and he was very comfortable doing it, you know. Hopefully he just keeps on improving and he just keeps on getting better, and I could get more wins on him.
I love it, Eric. Well, congratulations, and we'll see you tomorrow represented on General Baker, a little bit of a long shot in the Withers.
Yeah, thank you very much, Maggie.
All right, Eric Hansel, almost about to wrap up a really nice day, though. But as he said, it looks as though Bold Journey could be having a journey to more winner's circle appearances. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. Yeah, it seems like bigger and better things to come for Bold Journey off that effort.
Yeah, I mean, Eric's talking about the kickback last time. The horse tied its career best buyer last time. I just think this horse is in terrific form. I mean, what this was. I'm looking forward to seeing the figs, and I wonder if they'll feel that the track has been speeding up. But still, you look at the Riders, right? I mean, if he ran as usual, an 80-ish, a little worse than last time, this horse ran in the low to mid-90s. It's a very impressive race.
We're at Oaklawn, race 7, mile and a 16th, 40 claiming race for non-winners of 3. This is Sakil.
Robertino Diodoro may be on a bad run, but he is very good off the claim with routers.
Are vindicated, 15-1.
He looks so bad on paper, he'll probably win.
Ice Blast, big effort last start, new barn though.
Off the claim in dirt routes for this barn, 0 for 27 with only 7 hitting the board.
Just missed against the horses, actually won 5 of his last 6. Here's Dinner at Crumpy's at 15-1.
Now, this one would be quite an upsetter.
Prodigious Bay, does he get the lead by himself?
Well, I guess that's the question. I mean, don't you think Dinner at Crumpy's could go inside of him?
Could.
I mean, if he doesn't, he's going to be in front. Peyorano having a terrific meet.
Yeah, just lost to a pretty good one named Major General last out. Notary scratch. Here's the 8, Simovic.
When did he scratch? I looked at the scratches late. Riley Mott, rooting for Riley to do well. This one drops a little bit, second off a claim.
And Sono Grato, Steve Asmussen.
I love that pronunciation, Craig. You really
Thank
got
you.
that. Was really very, very impressive. Second off the claim for this one as well. Did absolutely no money whatsoever first off the claim.
2 minutes to post here in the 7th. Let's go to Paul for more.
Keep expanding your just capabilities of just being a wonderful host, Gregory Wolf. I mean, you're just phenomenal. Speaking different languages, all kinds of stuff, and making Andy and myself look good at the same time. At least I'm hoping so. Okay, let's get to this race here. I thought another difficult race. You know, I'm in agreement a tiny bit with Andy here. You know, we heard the stat, and I had mentioned it before about Robertino Diodoro. You know, his horses of late have not been running that well. Now, the horse, the first time starting in the last race, looked like he was low to the top of the lane. He kind of emptied out. Now, he took this horse from Cipriano Contreras, who I think has a live horse in the last race, the 12, horse by Collected, that I think is going to be the favorite. He already won race number 1, and he's been just really on fire on this meet. So my concern would be claiming from Cipriano. I know that he's given this horse a little bit of time. So, you know, Prodigious Bay, the 6, yeah, the question's going to remains to be, is this horse going to get to the front end or not? Because it seems like the best running is that if you look at the first call of his last 10 races, he's been in front in 8 of them. So I don't think that's going to change. It's just going to be how fast is he going to go on the front end. A giant scratch of the 4 Brooklyn Diamonds in here because Rudolph Brisset was having just a phenomenal meet. You know, and then Simovic on the outside. I think a horse they're just trying to kind of figure out, a horse that's gone to the front. They've brought him from behind. They blinkers on, blinkers off. Blinkers are on now. And they tried to rate him last time. Martin Garcia in the Iron Stay. I wondered if he's going to be a little bit more aggressive on the 8 in here because he's just a little bit more aggressive rider. So I'll give the slight edge to the 6, Prodigious Bay, if he gets to the front end. And I'm in agreement with you guys. I mean, the double in the next race, the 2 Moquette runners, Prodigious Bay and Tonka Warrior, is about $7 to $8. So they're burying that double, and they're also burying the 12 in the last race for Cipriano Contreras. So those are the 3 horses that you have to beat if you are loaded up in this late pick 5.
All right, Paulie, thanks. 8 to 5 favorite, Prodigious Bay. And we're going to show you that race. It was a comeback race for this horse. It would be coming in from Remington. He'd been successful and had some good races at Oaklawn in the past. Tried to do it on the front end. Simovic was in this race as well. Pretty good one, comes and gets them.
He was atrocious at Remington. And as you said, he'd had good form at Oaklawn before that. The problem I have is, and he ran terrific last time. I'm not in any way knocking him. He was 22 to 1 in there. Now he's 8 to 5. And I worry that if Calvin Burrell is aggressive, that he could actually be in front of this horse. And he does seem to me to be a horse that you want to win. He better be in front. I don't want him rating. But on the other hand, he ran very well last time. I'm not knocking him. And the thing about Sequil is, talking about, Jonathan mentioned it, Paulie mentioned it as well, Diodoro's very cold. But he has huge numbers overall, and especially at Oaklawn, off the claim with dirt routers. You know, he's 29% at Oaklawn Park alone. He's 29 for 121, 26% with a 297 ROI. Off the claim. So he's with dirt routers. He's winning at 26% with almost $12 horses. That's Robertino Diodoro, who's routinely 2-1.
See if this horse off the bench, too, can do it. November 18th, last time this horse was seen in the afternoon, is a two-time winner at Oaklawn. Taking the worst of it, though, price-wise here, 2-1. Second choice on the board. Meanwhile, the 6 stepping in, Speedster. Can he get the lead to himself? He talked about the 5 potentially who could pressure him, maybe even the 3 who ran a very good race forward last time out against the talented and on a roll Tonal Impact. We're set for the 7th. Let's go to Vic Stauffer.
They're at the post. They're off. Prodigious Bay broke beautifully and goes to the front from Sequil, who is second. Then comes Our Vindicated, Simovic, and Dinner at Crumpy's between horses. Sono Grotto is second to last, and he doesn't know that Ice Blast was inside of him, and he almost dropped him at the clubhouse turn. So they go to the clubhouse turn, and the leader is Prodigious Bay with Simovic to come up and challenge. So Prodigious Bay is a neck in front. Simovic is second by 1.5 lengths to Sequil, Our Vindicated, and Dinner at Crumpy's to the outside. Sono Grotto has 5 lengths to make up, and he's 2 in front of Ice Blast as they run up the backstretch, and the leader is Prodigious Bay. Prodigious Bay, a neck in front of Simovic in second. Dinner at Crumpy's, Our Vindicated between horses, and Sequil at the rail. And Sequil in the white blinkers is 2 from the front. Then it's 3 back to the 2 trailers, Sono Grotto and Ice Blast. There's 3 furlongs left to race, and Prodigious Bay is still the one to catch. Simovic with every chance in second, but now Prodigious Bay gets away a full length in front. Sequil is moving through from the inside. He could soon get into second. 3 back now to Our Vindicated, Sono Grotto, and Dinner at Crumpy's. Ice Blast is the trailer, and Prodigious Bay is the leader. Sequil has moved into second. He's 2.5 from the front. Sono Grotto is about to move up into third for Keith Asmussen. He's 4 from the lead. Prodigious Bay has the lead. Sequil right after him in second. Sono Grotto hanging on his left lead. He's 3rd and 3 from the front. It is Sequil and Prodigious Bay. Sequil puts a 1/2 length in front. Prodigious Bay cannot go with him. And now Sequil is clear. Prodigious Bay second best. It is Sequil in front. Sequil won 2 1/4. Prodigious Bay was second. Sono Grotto third. Ice Blast finished 4th.
Well, Prodigious Bay got what he wanted in here, but unable to hold off Sequil here. Diodoro off the claim.
Yeah, he may be cold, but a good off the claim going long, I guess, is the recipe to turn things around for him. As this horse absolutely jogged. Majorano gave a terrific ride to the Prodigious Bay. He cleared shockingly. Cal Burrell wasn't able to stay with him early, but he just was no better than second best. Now, I didn't see it, but the announcer claims that the number 6 almost dropped the 3, right? Early made some comment. And if that's correct, wouldn't you think there'd be an inquiry against that one? Because the 3 did run 3rd, so I would keep an eye on that. Now, I once again didn't see it. I just heard the announcer's comment.
Keep an eye out for it when we come back. We're going to take a break. 1-6-9 finish. Sono Grotto, Steve Asmussen and his son completing the trifecta. Nightcap still coming up at Aqueduct. Ria's Angel dropped down in class here. Start before that was a winner for 16 non-winners of 2 here at Aqueduct. Jose Lezcano, Linda Rice with the favorite. We'll be back.
Tampa Bay Downs has a rich thoroughbred horse racing history in Florida dating back to 1926. Celebrities such as Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, and John Ringling all attended opening day. In 1981, Hall of Fame jockey Julie Crone won her first career race here, and in 2007, we saw Street Sense win the Tampa Bay Derby and go on later that year to win the Kentucky Derby. Featuring full fields, great turf racing, and a 15% takeout on our Pick 5, Tampa Bay Downs has live racing every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Good to be back with you on America's Day at the Races. Features still to come. At Oaklawn, we have the nightcap at Aqueduct ahead. And this weekend, busy weekend on the road to the Kentucky Derby and to the Oaks. And we're going to have stakes action for you from Oldsmar, Florida, with Wonder Wheel, 2-year-old champion filly back in action, and the road to the Derby in the Sam F. Davis, where W. Nell, off that big performance in that Grade 2 Remsen win over Arctic Arrogance, returns for his 3-year-old debut for Danny Gargan.
I mean, he's the worst to beat off the Remsen win. It wasn't a wet track, and it was a day that speed was a big advantage. So maybe you kind of want to see it again to believe it, but judging by who he's running against, I'm not going to make a strong case for anybody else. Greg, can you make one?
We'll get to the other contenders in a moment. Here's that performance on that wet track. 90 Beyer took a huge move forward, and it's Arctic Arrogance on the outside looked like every step of the way.
No, Arctic Arrogance
Sorry,
on the inside. He was the outside in the other race.
Yes.
I know it's confusing, right?
But back-to-back races for him now, where it's sort of been the same scenario, but this time he was inside, the other race he was outside. Yeah. We're going to see him in the Withers on Saturday. WNL, but as you said, has to prove it on, I would expect, a dry track on Saturday.
You know, from a Beyer speed figure standpoint, he ran slightly slower when he broke his maiden in the sloppy sealed track. I just think he improved last time. Now, you had to be forward that day to be most effective. You didn't have to, but it helped. I don't know what to make of him. I don't love him, but he is the horse to beat in this field.
Zydeco Champions Dream, they were 1-2 in the Pasco when they met.
I'm not sure what we seem to think happened at the start in this race. I mean, it says bump break on Sammy's Dream. He broke a step slow, and he kind of got slightly bumped. He was second best. He had his chance to win the race. I didn't think it was that good a race, but the figure did come up okay. I guess the question with both he and Zydeco is how you feel about them stretching out. Now, Cajun Breeze, the sider of Zydeco, doesn't inspire confidence going long, but you would think that Justifies should be better off going longer, right?
And as you said, the figure came up okay. They would, if WNL can reproduce what he did last time out, these horses would need to take a big step forward.
Right.
Although not without the realm of possibility.
Right. It's not such a terrible race. It didn't come up as 64.
Yeah.
I mean, a 78 Beyer is not going to win the Kentucky Derby, but it's fast enough to say if they improve stretching out and improve with more starts, particularly Champion's Dream was a pedigree to stretch out, he could be dangerous.
You expect to see Zydeco in the lead and from that far outside post?
I don't know. You know, it's an interesting question. Don't you think the number 10, Dreaming of Kona, is supposed to go in here? I mean, I think he would go inside of him. He appears to be a little bit faster.
Works, too, coming in
pretty
for
fast.
That horse. Meanwhile, the 2-year-old champion filly making her return for Mark Casse. Wonder Wheel drew the inside post for the starting point for her 3-year-old campaign on the road to the Oaks.
I mean, on paper, she's the worst to beat in here. I thought what was interesting about her, she had a perfect trip setting a moderate pace in the Alcibiades, but she completely changed her running style in the Breeders' Cup and won the race. I can't knock her. I mean, I don't think she's a superstar, but she's okay. And based on what we've seen here, everyone else would have to improve to beat her. And what if she takes a step forward?
And drawn on the inside here. We know that she used to have speed. We saw her do it differently in the Breeders' Cup win. What kind of style are we going to see from her on Saturday?
I imagine they'll probably look to let the 5 Dreaming of Snow go in here, but I do think you'll see her more forward. I don't think you'll see her as far back as you saw her in the Breeders' Cup.
You have the best horse, don't mess around?
I would think, especially from the rail, right? You don't want to get shuffled out. Mark Casse is another interesting horse in here in the number 8, trying the dirt for the first time. The problem is that while this horse ran okay in synthetic, had run well in the turf and is really a turfy pedigree. It's not a dirt pedigree.
Don't forget the sister to Malathot, Julia Shining. Perfect record she puts on the line off that Grade 2 Demoiselle win that she won but did not probably impress many with the way she did it.
Right. I mean, if she hated a wet track, and assuming it's dry tomorrow, she could win. But that was an awful race, and she's going to have to improve to win here.
Suncoast Leg 3 of a cross-country Pick 5 that returns on Saturday. You could play through Naira bets. Kicks off at 4:16 p.m. Eastern Time, and the Sam F. Davis, that anchor leg of the sequence.
4:16, not a minute later.
Wonder Wheel sounds like it'll be a single for you.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've gone through the race. I mean, I wish Ticker Tape had a little bit more pedigree. I'd like to have a backup and have the backup not be Julia Shining.
Ria's Angel went by the other half of the entry.
I think on
outside post.
I think on paper, Ria's Angel, the one, is a living cinch, and the public's betting it that way.
The rail, Regality, who just ran at this level and just missed against horse who the rail opened up like the Red Sea.
But isn't this horse a bit of an overlay at 10-1? This was impossible.
Absolutely.
This horse is not impossible.
I actually like that race from that horse. Phoebe's Frosty Speed.
I'd like to book this horse on a gold rail last time out. Has been very, very fortunate in the recent starts.
Prince of Joy, Jackie Davis.
Is it a wet track?
On today's card?
Is it a wet track, or is this horse just improved? I think that's really the question, because this horse has run best on wet tracks, seal tracks.
Volero blinkers go on today.
Where did the race 3 back come from? This horse has been awful since that race. This is claimed by Randy, too.
Jade's Dream at 3-1, Dylan Davis.
He's all yours. I can't take him. I've had enough. He just doesn't seem to win.
Son of Drosselmeyer for David Jacobson. X-Top, Marcus Thompson trains.
Yeah, he looks like a tough horse to make.
37-1. So nightcap 5 minutes away. Entry 4-5. And the big part of that is the one, Ria's Angel, dropping out of a tougher state bred A other than.
Yeah, ran against possible horses last time and ran a race 2 back that would just win this race. And I mean, I hate being Mr. Obvious and coming with short prices, but I mean, I'm always looking to see if I feel like a favorite's vulnerable. I didn't see any reason not to like this horse.
To launch from a ways back.
Mm-hmm.
This was back on December 9th, and this was graduating out of that non-winners of 2 spot.
But honestly, couldn't they be moving a little bit in this race? I mean, the 3's got speed, the 1's got speed. Also, wouldn't you argue, isn't the 1A, I mean, an effective almost rabbit for the 1?
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
I mean, you'd think they'd be moving enough for this horse. Saw Bold Journey make that move last time out. The track has been funny. I was looking at yesterday's track. You could make arguments at certain times on yesterday's track that the rail was like it was an inside-y kind of track. But then there were races where horses just made big sweeping moves. And we've seen that some of these days on the inner where there are races individually that look like they're inside-y. And then there's races that look like it's a dead rail or an outside track, which means to me the track is mostly fair.
4-5 favoritism. Jonathan, Ria's Angel. Yes or no?
Yes. This is one of those situations, to Andy's point, I wish the one – this is one of those situations where I wish the 1 was not coupled with the 1A, because I don't necessarily need the 1A. Now, if you're betting the 1A is a nice little insurance policy, but it's also affecting the price. I think you'd be getting a little bit of a better price if you just had the plain 1, Ria's Angel, who I do think is a very likely winner of this race, but the price is going to be a little deflated because people love an entry, little backup. Look, she's a little bit slow away from there, which is a little bit of a concern, the 1, Ria's Angel. But from a speed figure standpoint, I mean, she's got 4, 5, 6 races last year that win this race. So if you want to try to get creative, and I know that we'll try to do that a little bit on this show to try to avoid to give you a 4-5, but the 2 Regality ran well last time. There was a little bit of moisture in the track going 9 furlongs, but and the pace wasn't particularly quick, but did show a little bit there with the speed figure. Seems to be maybe improving a little bit. They could run that race again, I suppose, with a cleaner trip than what the 1 might get, breaking a little bit slow. The 2 Regality is one that I suppose could get in the mix at 8-1, but outside of that, I feel like this is the 1's race to lose. Maggie?
Yeah, you're right. I do like the 1 in here. I have no problems with Phoebe's Frosty, and you guys are picking him, so Phoebe's Frosty. I meant Ria's Angel. You guys are picking him, so I'm just going to be a little bit contrarian and go with the 4 here. But let's talk about Phoebe's Frosty. As Andy pointed out, probably with the track in his last 2, but he's a horse, and 2, though, both of those efforts going 1 mile and 1/8, and he is kind of that true, really long, lanky type of horse where that probably did him favors too, going that 9 furlong distance, and now he's going to cut back today to the 1-turn mile. He has developed well physically, and furthermore, he's settled a lot more too mentally, which was always the biggest problem with him going back to when he wasn't running that well. But again, at a somewhat short price, I can understand having reservations. Now, I wish I didn't think or see that Prince of Joy, his 2 wins, have come on wet tracks. He probably is a better wet track horse. But at the end of the day, why not take a horse here that I thought ran well? He kind of was put into a blind switch around the turn last time. He tipped out and he chased in earnest behind Majestic Tiger and albeit Jade's Dream, who is in here, and he was just outfinished slightly late. He just looks as though he's thriving right now, doing really, really well. His weight, his coat, everything is right where it needs to be. Like I said, wish there was moisture in the track, not gonna get it today, and totally heed the fact that Ria's Angel is much the horse to beat, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. Entry still 4-5. So we'll see if the class drop here pays off for Ria's Angel.
Yeah, I hear you, and I think we're all in agreement. You end the day, and my opinion certainly haven't been anything special, and that's being kind today, and you end up on a 4-5. But on the other hand, you're not supposed to pick against. I picked the 4 seconds, so I'm sort of with Maggie. If you're going to take a horse to try to beat, I think as Jonathan hit on with Regality, the 2, or the 4 Prince of Joy were the ways I would go. I probably in playing this race, say you bet tries. I'd put the 1 on top, and I would try to get the 2 and 4 in second and third.
I'll say this too with Regality. You look at that last race. I mean, this is a horse who does his wins. He was gate to wire. He was in front.
Yeah.
He lost the lead. He didn't have the lead in that race, and he battled back. He was actually getting back to that winner.
I thought he ran fine last time. He kind of should have won, but I thought he ran fine. With Phoebe's Frosty, though, he's not getting the lead in here. But he should be able to sit second in that one.
There's Ria's Angel, the 1 to beat. Jose Lezcano, Linda Rice. Odds on the entry here in this nightcap from New York. Our feature race still coming up with Barber Road back in action at Oaklawn, so that to come. Let's send it upstairs. Chris Griffin to close out this Friday card here at Aqueduct.
X-Top moves forward. Waiting on Storm Shooter to the outside. All in line. All set. Opening the front of the gate there was Storm Shooter. Lunged at the gate. Have to close the front of the gate. Assistant starters do so. We're set. And they're off. Squeeze at the start was Voliero, who's at the back of the field. Storm Shooter's got early speed, and Regality is going to be in the early mix as well. There's Phoebe's Frosty from in between horses. These 3 across the track as they get set to come out of the chute. Just off of them is going to be X-Top, is now 3 off the lead there with Prince of Joy in the orange cap as this trio moves quickly up top. Towards the back end of the field, Jade's Dream is now 7 lengths off the lead with Ria's Angel, and after the start, Voliero is the trailer. Plenty of pressure on the front end. They went 23 and 2 for the opening quarter mile. Regality is trying to take off of this pace battle. It's Phoebe's Frosty and Storm Shooter up alongside. They're now 1-2. Regality is taking off the pace. Andre Worry is going to move to the outside. Got off the rail and now has a 3-wide run. Prince of Joy is chasing this pace. Is 5 off the lead. X-Top is still wide. Also Jade's Dream starts to move forward at the rail, is saving ground around the turn. Ria's Angel still patiently ridden, and the trailer is Voliero. 47 and 3 for that half-mile time. Regality is back for more Prince of Joy. Prince of Joy has been watching this action, and here comes Jackie Davis with Prince of Joy. Going to have a 4-wide move and is coming after the leaders quickly here as they approach a quarter mile left to go. Phoebe's Frosty, Storm Shooter, Regality, and an oncoming Prince of Joy who's just slowly catching up to rivals now. Regality's got more. It's Regality who kicks on. Prince of Joy seems to be stalling a touch here on the grandstand side. Storm Shooter down to the inside there with Phoebe's Frosty as they battle on for a final furlong from the back. Ria's Angel is picking up some ground, but it's late momentum here. Regality is still fending him off. It's Regality, Phoebe's Frosty. Prince of Joy is back to third. Phoebe's Frosty is coming back to the inside. Look at this effort. Phoebe's Frosty comes back and wins. Phoebe's Frosty over Regality, Prince of Joy, and Ria's Angel in 1 minute 43.96 seconds.
Race looked like Regality and Andre Worry had it wrapped up, and then Phoebe's Frosty re-rallies Jason Huayas, and this one usually does it on the front end.
Well, this horse, but he wasn't the front end. He was embroiled in a virtual suicidal.
But then it was done.
Pace duel was finished. Looked like he'd be more likely to be eased than win. And it looked like it could only be the 2-4 box. And he came back on the win? Man, it is the Twilight Zone today. I mean, I know this was a slow race, but you've got to be kidding me.
5-1. Phoebe's Frosty. 3 for 5 now at Aqueduct and 3 in a row.
How did it, I understand they all stopped in the stretch, but how did this horse come back on to win? I mean, just 100-1 at top of the stretch.
Yeah, it looked like he'd thrown in the towel and it was over. And able to wear this one down. Certainly a tiring regality. 3-2, 4-1, 4-5 favorite. Did not have much of Ria's Angel. Prices for you when we come back. Tell you what, the pick 5 came back as well. And we have our feature coming up at Oaklawn. Barber Road set to return. We'll be back. Mile and a 16th. First allowance condition race ahead. Stay with us.
Whatever you use to predict future stallion success, breathe slowly and gaze at the desert's first great championship race. Curlin won it. So did Street Cry, Arrogate, and now, in a time even faster than Arrogate's, Mystic Guide. The cold hard fact is, after this, he was rated the best horse in the world. Mystic Guide. New to Darley.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Flightline is in full flight. Flightline turns it on at the top of the stretch, and he's in cruise control.
And Flightline takes off!
Take a good look at this, because you're not going to see this too often, maybe never again. Flightline, 20 lengths clear.
World-class racehorse, world-class performance, and a world championship event.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
You're watching America's Day of the Races on FS2. Regional networks out in SoCal and San Diego. Thanks for being with us. Our feature next from Oaklawn. Program brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Mile and a 16th. First allowance condition race coming up. And Barber Road has won over $500,000 at this track. Still eligible for this condition. Was second in last year's Arkansas Derby, 6th in the Kentucky Derby. Get to him in a moment. Here's Mr. Thunderstruck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a strong opinion. He was closing into a race at a very fast pace. He does stretch out from there. Trainer's numbers stretching out are not good.
Steve Asmussen, Wenchel, Ricardo Santana Jr. with Chileno.
Not a barn that has great numbers off layoffs, especially with dirt routers.
Here's Ignitus for D. Wayne Lucas.
Could be forwardly placed, and with the one scratch, this pace got a lot more tepid.
Yeah, been sprinting, stretching back out. Here's Barber Road, blinkers on.
He's a somewhat ineffectual closer that was kind of fortunate in situations against theoretically better last year, but he's getting absolutely no pace to close in. You say, well, show more speed with blinkers. He didn't last year.
Here's Cat Daddy, Joe Pedalino trains.
I just didn't think he was good enough.
Tonka Warrior, 8-5 favorite.
You like him. I like him. Public likes him. How can he win?
Third off the bench, Rafael Bejarano will be aboard. Camp David at 22-1, Mike Maker.
He'd have to improve, wouldn't he? I mean, he just doesn't look fast enough. Mike Maker's running a few horses at Oaklawn this year.
Efficiency at 6-1, Jerry Hollendorfer.
Best race he ever ran was on a sloppy sealed track back at Belmont Park. Seems not impossible stretching out.
Yeah, that's when he was with Chad Brown. Now second start with Jerry Hollendorfer. Then the 10 amongst friends, who finished ahead of Tonka Warrior last time out.
Yeah, he's got to overcome that outside post and the lack of speed. I'll tell you something. Isn't efficiency dangerous in here? There's not a lot of speed. You know, he could get forward position. I'm not against Tonka Warrior. I'm not trying to against him, but maybe the 7-10. Maybe that's the number you want to play. 7-9, I mean. I'm going to look at that.
All right, well, let's look at the headliner here, Barber Road. Third chance to get through this other than since he's come back off the bench for the Belmont Stakes. And he tried to come from really far out of it when we last saw him. We're going back, though, to one of his better moments, his runner-up finish in the Arkansas Derby that propelled him to the first Saturday in May.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he had some good accomplishments. Listen, he won almost $600,000 last year. The bottom line, though, was that he was getting extremely fast paces and getting extremely good rides and trips in those races. And, you know, people are so used to Oaklawn having had some outstanding horses in their preps, mostly because of Bob Baffert, that I think they didn't notice as much that last year was a down year for Oaklawn. It's not that Oaklawn's bad or the preps are bad races, and that's one of the reasons I think making the last preps grade 1s and saying one is better than the other is a mistake. There's a randomness to it. What?
Wasn't that bad last year. Cyberknife, Secret Oath?
Well, I mean, Secret... Who? Cyberknife? Who's the other one? Oh, the filly. Well, she's a filly. I mean... Yes, Cyberknife did well, but the rest of them, it was a subpar year.
That's fair.
I mean, and the best prep turned out to be the Wood Memorial, which produced 2 Triple Crown winners. It's random. I'm not knocking them, but overall, it wasn't that good a series of races for Oaklawn, especially the standards they've had in other years, because Bob Baffert wasn't really participating. And they were also fast-paced races that were conducive to his closing style.
Well, Barber Road right now, public has him at 3-1 on the board. Second choice, David Cabrera, John Ortiz. Have they found a ticket with an equipment change here, Paulie?
You know, I don't know, Greg. You know, when he came off the layoff, I remember when we were on American Days at the races, I said, you know, I'm not a guy that is a person who looks at a horse and can tell too much, but I could tell that he was a little bit unfit. He looked like he was a little overweight, and I could see that happening. Johnny just giving him a race over the racetrack. Then the next time he ran dull again, and I'm just wondering, is he the same horse? Do the blinkers go back on? Andy makes a good point. They didn't really help him with any speed at all. Maybe it will help him with some focus in here, and maybe the mud will help. He does have 2 starts in the mud, but he's going to have to launch from way out of it, and you have 2 other horses in here with the 7 and the 10 that are other horses that have that capability. When you look at the 7 Tonka Warrior, it seems like that he can stay at least close up to the pace, and I think definitely the one to beat in here, considering the last 2 races have been very good. And yet at that time, McLean Robertson was 0 for 15. He's won his last 3 races or last 3 entries that he's sent out. So you got a hot barn with the 7 right now, and I think he is the horse to beat. Now the 9 efficiency, if the racetrack is going to go around and around and around, and they're going to go gate to wire, again, I think this is a horse that they're probably going to have to catch in here, unless Camp David goes, maybe. I just don't see it. And amongst friends, I guess it's getting overlooked a little bit at the window at 7-1. He did launch just as good as Tonka Warrior last time. I just don't love that he's going to be probably farther back than the 7. So again, guys, I was telling you before, we're all on the 7, so he's probably not going to win. But I love the 12 in the last race, so I'm going out with the 7-12 double to end my day here at Oaklawn.
All right, we see how it plays out in here. A lot of people, obviously, on Tonka Warrior in here. And that nightcap, Collected Glory, looks like a major player as well. So that is, as Paulie gave you, one way to play it. Let's go to JK.
Yeah, the biggest issue I have with Tonka Warrior is the same thing I'll have with Barber Road, is just doesn't have a lot of early speed. And on a racetrack and on dirt in general, I prefer horses that are going to be forwardly placed. But on a racetrack with some moisture in it, I think it's even harder sometimes to make up ground. Talk about the 5 Barber Road a little bit. We talked a lot about the Derby Trail. I don't care if they ran in California, Louisiana, New York, Florida, wherever. Horses that are on the Derby trail and run the Kentucky Derby are overbet for the rest of their lives. Barber Road just isn't that good to me based on the price that you're getting. I'm going to take a little bit of a shot here with the 9 Efficiency. I know this horse didn't do much with Chad Brown. Jerry Hollendorfer's in the Hall of Fame as well, and I think that this is the type of horse, based on the last race, kind of has those even running lines going shorter. And I think those are the types of horses, when I say even running lines, meaning that early in the race we're running basically the kind of the same speed as late in the race. Those horses stretch out well to me. I think Efficiency, if ridden aggressively, could be very forwardly placed here and is a much more attractive price than his counterparts that are going to be coming from way out of it.
I know. All right, JK, thanks. We'll see the 9 here for Hollendorfer, Efficiency. Second start in his barn. He started him sprinting on the comeback and now stretches him back out.
I'm worried about this drone. I think it's coming for you, Greg. Or is it a UFO?
I thought it was a drone. I think it's a balloon.
Oh, uh-oh. Don't go there. I agree with Jonathan. I think 9 is the
it's not white, though.
Other horse, as far as you can tell. Should we discuss Camp David now? We got a lot going on here. I agree with Jonathan. The 9 is the interesting horse. You're a little ahead of yourself, Jonathan. You said Jerry Dorfman, you said is in the Hall of Fame as well. I do agree with you. Chad Brown will be in the Hall of Fame, but as far as I know, he's visited it, but he's not quite allowed in yet, as far as I remember.
His point was, yeah, just a strong trainer, obviously.
I'm just teasing. Camp David, I think Chad Brown will make it first ballot. I agree that he is an interesting horse because he all could be forwardly placed in a race. It just doesn't have much speed. So I like the 7 and 9 here.
His point going against Tonka Ware, he's concerned being far out of it. Is that a concern for you?
I don't think he'll be that far back. I think the Bejarano will do a good job getting him in there. The way Bejarano's been riding, I think he'll look, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be that close, but I'll bet he's not worse than a few lengths off of it. We'll see.
8-5 favorite.
He's a lot faster than Barber Road. I can put it that way.
Yeah, Barber Road.
I thought he was a little faster.
It's interesting, too, because Barber Road used to be a speed sprinter when he started his career, and now he comes from so far out of it. We'll see if the blinkers do anything. With the 5 here, runner-up in last year's Arkansas Derby, Vic Stauffer. Here's the feature from Oaklawn.
They're at the post. They're off. Efficiency sent out for the front from Ignitus and Camp David. Those 3 go very fast. Chileno and Mr. Thunderstruck are next. Tonka Warrior moves past amongst friends. Then Cat Daddy, and the early trailer is Barber Road. Efficiency wanted the front for Angel Rodriguez, and he's got it from Camp David, a length back in second. Efficiency, the boss. Camp David is second by 2 lengths, 2. Ignitus and Tonka Warrior together third and fourth. Amongst friends is fifth. He's got about 5 lengths to make up. Cat Daddy's outside of him, and Chileno is at the rail. 2 lengths further back, 2 both. Barber Road and Mr. Thunderstruck. It is 8 lengths first to last, and Efficiency trying to go all the way on the engine. It is Efficiency, a length in front of Camp David in a second. Ignitus is now racing in the clear. He's 3rd and 3 from the front. Here's an early move from Cat Daddy, who just ran alongside Tonka Warrior. Amongst friends is Between Horses, and Chileno's at the rail. Then comes Mr. Thunderstruck. Barber Road is still the trailer. They leave the backstretch with Efficiency and Camp David, and it looks like Camp David might put ahead in front. Efficiency, though, does battle back, and Efficiency's back in front by a half length. Camp David is second by 2 lengths. Here's Amongst Friends, Between Horses, and Amongst Friends is about to take third, and he moves up within 2.5 of the front. Then Tonka Warrior, Cat Daddy is flattened out. Top of the stretch, Camp David is the leader. He's now a length in front of Efficiency in second. Amongst Friends is third. He's got 2.5 to make up. Tonka Warrior trying to give Mac Robinson his third, and he's 3 from the lead. Camp David leads. Efficiency is at the rail. Amongst Friends is flattened out. Now Mr. Thunderstruck moves up and takes over third, but it's Camp David and Efficiency 1-2. Camp David, Efficiency, Mr. Thunderstruck, Camp David in front. Camp David won by 2. There's 4 across the track for second. Amongst Friends, Mr. Thunderstruck, Efficiency, and a flat-flying Barber Road.
4-year-old debut for Camp David. Mike Maker, Isaac Castillo with a victory.
Well, he did have a voice. If you like horses off voided claims, And while that may be an admirable thing to do, if we don't start telling people why claims are voided, it's going to continue to cause the confusion it caused here. Happy for my friend Kirk Wyckoff with 3 Diamond Farm. If you had this horse, you are a much smarter man than me. I have absolutely no idea you like this horse.
Back-to-back wins, ended his 3-year-old campaign with a win for condition 30, voided claim, and then wins right back. Protected. And not much from Tonka Warrior in here.
He was in a conditional $30,000 claim in the race last time. Tonka Warrior was terrible, and Villarano got good position with him, and Barbaro was an ineffectual 5th with a little late suck-up on the rail.
Dead last early, Barbaro, even with those blinkers on. Phoebe's Frosty did not look like it was going to happen. Back-to-back wins, leading every step of the way. He's battled in a 3-way pace duel and then drops out of it and somehow re-rallies.
He was 100 to 1 at this point to win a race. Literally. Huge pace duel, came to a stop down the inside. I mean, wow. I don't know what to say.
At this point, it looks like he's done.
I don't know.
Here he comes.
I don't know what to say.
On the fence, grinds away, and gets by Regality.
A friend of mine told me he bet the 2. He was in shock, and the favorite did no running, no excuse. Awful.
Tough beat if you liked Regality. Here, Phoebe's Frosty, $12 for the win. Charlie Baker, Jason Juez, pick 5 over $12,000 for. Wow. These numbers played a little bit bigger, didn't they?
What is the parlay? 70, 700, 500, 1,700, let's say 1,800 times 6, so 10,800, and that's for $2. Yes, it paid more than 4 times the parlay. I don't know how anybody has Baba. I couldn't have the last one. I couldn't have Bob. All the others were usable.
Prices from the feature at Oaklawn. We have the nightcap still coming up, and obviously we'll preview the Jimmy Winkfield. We'll tell you more about Jimmy Winkfield, the man, and one of the great jockeys in the history of this sport as well when we come back. Stay with us. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2.
It's Rock Your World in command. Medina Spirit making no progress. And it's going to be Rock Your World to take them all the way in the Santa Anita Derby. He's undefeated and wins by 4.
We are back on America's Day of the Races on our FS2 coverage. Regional networks out in SoCal and San Diego. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Feature at Oaklawn. It's a shocker. Camp David, Mike Maker, 3 Diamonds Farm, and a man we learned a lot about at this meet last year, who's standing by with Paul Duca.
Excuse me, I can't hear you. Sorry, I have a little technical difficulties here with winning jockey here, Isaac Castillo aboard Camp David. And I was asking you before the race, had you ever been on this horse? You said no, but you said you'd watch some replays and you just try to just do with the replays, what you saw.
Yes, I tend to do the same in Louisa and Ryan and Churchill. So I tend I tend to go, but the pace no favors with that. So I tend get like good position behind the front horse, so the horses respond back.
You were telling me too, he kind of dug in. This horse has been, laid off for a little bit, but he gave you a lot more than you thought. He was in between horses and just kept on fighting. You said this is a nice horse.
Yeah, it is a nice horse. Well, thank you, the trainer and the owner, for giving me the opportunity.
Now, Isaac, last year you came here late. This is your first full season here at Oaklawn Park. I mean, Steve Asmussen, you got a horse for him in the last. You think he's got a big shot?
Yes, I did. Well, what I tell you, every horse I ride, I try the best I have. So, yes, let's do it.
Well, Isaac Castillo, I was just actually sitting here before we were breaking up on the audio. Robbie Alvarado was up there, and Robbie Alvarado said, this kid can flat out ride, and we know Robbie can ride too as well. And Isaac is rising up the ranks, a young rider, and he's got a shot here in the last race for Steve Asmussen runner.
He certainly can. That's why he's getting opportunities for Steve Asmussen, for Mike Maker, which we saw a lot last year at this meet, and it's continuing this year. The evolution of this rider, he's having a lot of success.
I feel like did he come there from Sam Houston last year when they closed? Maybe I'm wrong. I thought he came as the meet was ending, and he rode very, very well. But he's been here the whole meet this year, and he's making quite an impression.
And the horse he's going to ride that Paulie alluded to in the last for Asmussen, if he breaks clean, he didn't break clean last time, but a horse who maybe is in front of this race.
I had the race 5, 10, 11, the 10 scratch, so I had a 5-11. So
no collective glory, huh?
I don't know why I didn't like him, but if I don't like him, he'll probably win. Trainer does not have great numbers off the claim, and he's had his share of chances, but obviously it's not impossible. He's obviously a player here for another.
All right, we'll get to that post-parade coming up. I talked about a charity that I'm going to be doing with Game of Silk, so we got to look at my stable. Time for you to announce where any profits from this Game of Silks will go for you.
Well, I was going to give them the chaplaincy, but after the day I've had today, I'm starting to reconsider that. I'll have to work something out with the chaplain. I'll be donating any money I make to one of the many worthy causes here at NYRA, and I'm so happy to see everybody here participating in these great causes. I mean, I think all of us have chosen good causes. So the New York Racetrack Chaplaincy, to me, a tremendous organization to support. They just do so much for the backstretch workers. But I think the same could be said for BEST and the BCCA and all the other charities here that look after people on the backstretch. And I've got one monstrous pedigree there. I believe it is the no, it's the Greg. I know Greg's a big cat burglar fan. Into Mischief, Nina Fever, I believe that's the one. It's got a name, right? It's something like Citation or something. I don't know what his name is. What is it? I've got it somewhere on my desk. That was the million. That was the most expensive one. I think $1.25 million, $1.35 million. Okay. So that is the most likely money winner there. But
and we never know. I have some big pedigrees. I have an Uncle Mo. I have a Justify. You don't know how these horses are going to wind up, and that's part of the fun of this game too. And of course, owning them in the virtual world, but getting to see them compete in real life on the racetrack makes this really interesting.
Yeah, and I just particularly hope that among us, the group here, we have some that run at Saratoga, they run at Belmont Park, run it here as well, so that we can see them run, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I really think this is a terrific idea. I understand we're involved with them, and I come across as a shill, which I am a paid shill, we all are, but I do believe that it's a really interesting idea because you do get involved in ownership. I mean, you get 1% of any of the earnings they have. If there is going to be a stallion or two out of this group, if you happen to have that horse, you'll participate in the stallion earnings. Broodmares as well. So you are participating as an owner, and I think it's a really fun game and a very clever idea. And looking forward to people getting involved, and hope that some people in Saratoga get to maybe go in the paddock and see their horses. I hope they end up in the winner's circle with them. Yeah. They're all for sale, so every winner of these 2-year-old races somewhere are in the Game of Silks.
And as you said, not just owning a horse, you can own farms, you can own breeding rights, all that too. Can you imagine having horse who turned out to be a Triple Crown winner. No, 1%
Imagine
of that
having a
would
chance
not
to
be bad.
participate in those races.
Yeah.
You own a horse and he's going into a Breeders' Cup race. I mean, it's and you do. You own 1%. It's not like you're just sort of a fake owner. You actually own 1% of the earnings. I think it's a really, really interesting game and a really fun way for people to learn for less money something about the owner experience. They can see all the suffering you go through with injuries and all that stuff. But
Horse
also
racing
enjoy
in the
excitement.
metaverse, Game of Silks. Get involved if you have not already participated. Still plenty of time to be part of it. We're going to take a timeout. We still have our nightcap coming up at Oaklawn. We'll get to that post-parade in a moment. And the story of Jimmy Winkfield won back-to-back Kentucky Derbies among his incredible accomplishments. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Here comes Malathon. Here comes Clariere on the outside, and it's going to be Clariere. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths.
And Elite Power gets up to win the sprint outside. It's Malathon coming to the wire. Who's it going to be? Here's the wire. Oh, the wish has come true. That one's for you, Cody.
Would you believe that champions weren't measured by rings, but by a crown? That the history books were written on dirt? That the greatest of all time was a horse?
He is moving like a tremendous machine.
Experience the magic at this year's Belmont Stakes as we honor the 50th anniversary of Secretariat's legendary Triple Crown triumph. Join the celebration at Belmont Park on Saturday, June 10th. Tickets on sale now at BelmontStakes.com.
Introducing a stallion as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus buyer speed figures, a 3-time Grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Back with you on America's Day at the Races. And the great Jimmy Winkfield. It took way too long for him to be honored in this sport and get into the Hall of Fame. It finally happened in 2004. One of the greatest ever to ride. One of 5 jockeys to win back-to-back editions of the Kentucky Derby. 3rd African-American jockey inducted to the Hall of Fame. And, of course, the Jimmy Winkfield. We're going to have it for you tomorrow on the program.
I love that he earned the Russian national riding title back in 1904. I think that's very cool.
First race he ever rode. And can you imagine if the stewards were like this now? Cut off 3 horses and he got to the rail. Got a year suspension.
Wow. Irad does not want to hear that.
He would never ride again, right?
Irad does not want to hear that story. He trained in Paris after he was done riding. This guy's had an amazing, amazing career, and I agree with you. Way too long for him to get in the Hall of Fame.
Well, it's going to be the 3rd on the card on Saturday, this year's edition of the Jimmy Winkfield 5-horse field that is going to line up, and an out-of-towner probably going to attract a lot of attention here for Jimmy Chapman, Drew's Gold.
Yeah, I mean, he came off the layoff after breaking his maiden over the summer, and then he came off the layoff and won at Laurel, I want to say. I haven't been to summer.
Yeah, it was at Laurel.
And ran a decent fig. That was 5.5. We'll have to go here. Joey Freshwater, they look like the 2 favorites, right?
They are in the morning line. And throw Clubhouse in the mix, too, for Pletcher. But this is Joey Freshwater off back-to-back wins. One in the mud, one in the slop to break his maiden at Churchill, then wins in the mud at Aqueduct.
Yeah. He looked good. I mean, I think this is a tougher field. I struggled with this round. The way I'm going, I'm struggling with everything. I probably should just be picking horses I don't like going forward. I thought Daydreaming Boy for Louis Linder coming in from Parks was a very dangerous horse, though he ran very well 2 back. I mean, I won't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these horses won. I didn't really like Clubhouse, which probably means he'll win.
Even Charlie Baker horse could step up.
Yeah, he's got to clear, and maybe he does. You know, if people are wondering why John Velasquez is riding here, he was supposed to be riding a Todd Pletcher horse that was shipping up from Florida in the Withers. That horse got sick and didn't ship. But Johnny had already committed to ride some horses. He didn't have any mounts out west, and so he was flying in anyway. And I imagine he's got family here, so he's coming in to ride. So it'll be nice to see Johnny here, and he'll be happy to hear that he's coming in and it's not freezing cold.
It is certainly warmed up from when certainly the Withers from last week was supposed to be running. It had to be canceled. Yeah. We got down, my walk to work, it was 7 degrees. But with the wind out here, too.
It was a little chilly. And now, I mean, you didn't even really need a jacket today. And tomorrow, I think, is supposed to be warm as well, maybe even warmer.
I think the cold is behind us.
Oh, yeah. Famous last words.
You don't think so?
I think it's going to get chillier again next weekend. But
I should have never said it.
It does feel like we're in a good... We've got no snow the entire winter.
Got the nightcap still coming up at Oaklawn. We'll get back out to Hot Springs, Arkansas when we return. Isaac Castillo, an opportunity to add another one with Steve Asmussen on the 11, Thorn Crown, the 12, Collected Glory. Maybe the horse to beat, but there's the one Castillo will ride. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Eclipse champion Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on our FS2 coverage. Regional networks out in SoCal and San Diego. It's brought to you in part where you can play it all at Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Nightcap coming up at Oaklawn. We're going to look to tomorrow. 6 furlongs in the Dixie Bell for 3-year-old fillies. And Twirled and Key of Life getting reunited.
Yeah, they hit the wire together. We had a very impressive horse, Red Carpet Ready. For those people not familiar with Red Carpet Ready, the winner of this race, or is this another race? No, this is
that's it.
That horse was a very impressive winner of the Forward Gal at Keeneland. Now, if somebody is able to determine, is this the right race? No, this is not the right race. No, this is not the race. The Fern Creek was a 6-horse.
Yeah, no.
I'm not having a big day, but I've got at least 8 out there, Greg. I don't know much, but...
I think we can pause this.
This is definitely 3 horses coming down the stretch. Who exactly they are, I don't know.
All right, so back to Key of Life. Had won 3 in a row, and then, yeah, both Key of Life and Trolled run into red carpet ready. You had said, obviously, big resume. So for Key of Life, it's the comeback race.
If somebody can watch the last race and they are sober and they can find the steady at the 3 ace pole that is referred to, please let me know about it, because I watched it multiple times and I think this horse had a perfect trip from the standpoint of rating. And I think it's fair to wonder if this is a horse that really needs to be on the engine to be most effective. And it does feel like they're going to be moving up front, especially with Stone Silent in there. He's a cool horse, huh?
She won her debut out at Santa Anita, for John Sadler, June 18th. So that becomes the question.
She's an Adios Charlie that sold for $410,000. I want to say...
Why away so long?
I want to say Pattern Recognition was an Adios Charlie that sold for a lot of money, eventually won the Cigar Mile. I don't know. It's weird, right? Wins that race in June, runs a 78 Beyer, which for a 2-year-old in the middle of June, that's a very, very fast race. And now we haven't seen the horse. And then ships here. Also, a Florida bred. It's kind of weird. I wonder what the trajectory... for people wondering, by the way, about John Sadler, I looked it up. I don't know why it's not written here. Oh, yeah, I looked up John Sadler. He's actually over 20% with a positive ROI with his runners at Oaklawn. I know one of the knocks on him in the past had been he wasn't great at shipping out of California. He's had great success at Oaklawn.
Did pretty good at November, didn't he?
He had
shipping out of town.
I think he won a Breeders' Cup race. I can't remember some horse. Got like one word.
Horse of the Year, Flightline did a tremendous job.
But you've heard that criticism of him in the past.
for sure.
And I just want to say he has.
But Accelerate.
No, he's done very well. Maybe he had a period of time, but he recently
Here's Lovely Joyce, who actually got slammed out of the gate in the debut. Now stepping up in class.
Wish took a little money first time out, but I don't disagree. Had some bit of an excuse.
This horse we were talking about, we were looking forward to seeing before and scratched. I'm Beth Dutton, Emerald Down shipper.
Really?
Yeah, you were very intrigued by her.
Was it a horse that comes out of a very live race or something? I don't know. It's been a long day, Greg.
Plus Power's first-time starter for Marquesi.
Yeah, he doesn't have great numbers overall with his first years, but it's interesting he ships this horse in for fairgrounds, right?
Dan produced a graded stakes place runner.
Yeah. Turf, 2 okay, 1 was okay on the turf.
5 major player Peter Miller, the favorite right now.
Right, I agree. I like this horse, a major player, dropping down, but had a lot of chances.
Diodoro, but it's not stretching out going long.
Yeah, and this horse failed at short prices at Remington and Sam Houston. Not for me.
Insensitive. Did you see much there with the problems with this horse?
No.
I didn't see much
I did like
either.
the name, though. I don't know that he's named after me, but...
Insensitive, could be. Thorn Crown Speed, Isaac Castillo.
I thought Thorn Crown was very dangerous off the claim for Steve Asmus. Good numbers off the claim with maidens at Oaklawn.
And Collected Glory, 7-2. Big price. Cipriano Contreras claims.
Do you like this horse more than I do, huh? No, I'm not.
I found one of the horses to beat.
Okay. I didn't love his races.
Well, we're going to take a look at last time out, January 27th. And this was easier spot, but potentially and is claimed out of this race and maybe a positive sign and ran a little bit better and warrants a move up.
Problem is, drops on a main special to a bottom level claiming race, right? Doesn't get it done. Now, he wasn't favored, to be fair. I looked up some numbers. Off the claim on the dirt with maidens for Contreras, he's 2 for 21. 9 at the board. And in sprints, he's 2 for 13, so better, but still a 98-cent ROI, for what it's worth.
And there's the 12 just leaving your screen there in the background. 7-2. Well, I know, Paulie, you like the 12 quite a bit in here.
Yeah, I actually do. I mean, in a couple of reasons why. Cipriano's been just so dangerous off the claim. I understand the stat that Andy just read. The other part about this filly is that she has trouble from the gate. She really does. If you look at half of her start, she's kind of been left in the gate. And I think maybe loading last will help her a little bit. And she can break a little bit better. When she breaks better, she does show a little bit of speed. Now, when you look at the Will Pays, they're basically handing the race to Candy Caramel here for Peter Miller and Ricardo Santana. This horse dropping for maiden special weight, been running out in California. Came here to Oaklawn Park, did not run that well at 5.5 to 1. hence the drop here. And when you look at both sides of the pedigree, obviously Candy Ride on the top side, this horse has never been on the slop, but obviously should love it. And that was the other reason I like the 12. You know, the collecteds do like the off track. The other horse in here, Greg, would be the 3 here. The 3 is getting bet here, was getting bet a little bit. I'm giving this horse an outside shot, and I'm giving you a reasoning that just might blow your mind. And all it does is rains in Washington. This horse was literally playing in the mud when he was a baby. I would think the 3's gonna love the mud. Maybe his mother was a mudder. When you're raised in Washington, you gotta love the rain. So the 3's my long shot in here, but I do think the 12 and the 5 are gonna be tough to beat.
I'm really interested to see I'm Bet Done and what she can do on the circuit.
Isn't the line his mother was a mudder? But the Seinfeld line, right? His mother was a mudder.
5-1. What does JK think of the Seattle shipper?
It's a great angle, right? It does rain a lot up there, so I'm not going to talk anyone off of a horse in this race. No, there seems to be a little bit of some buzz on some of the outside horses. I thought the 7 was a little bit interesting, Biogenic Babe. I know that earlier in the show I gave you that awful stat about how Diodoro is ice cold, and then he went on to win a race. I think what happens a lot of times is that because he's ice cold, people are now trying to fade him, and sometimes horses can creep up. I will say that Biogenic Babe in maiden special weight races had shown some early speed. Facing tougher, getting hooked by tougher, now dropping in maiden claiming. I like horses that showed speed in maiden special weight that are dropping because they shouldn't have to take on that much pressure. And this horse was bet in both of those situations. Now, it was at Remington and at Sam Houston, so you'd like to think that the horse players there, when they see Diodoro show up with a maiden, they're thinking the horse is probably live. So I don't want to go out of control with the fact this horse took money in those last 2 starts, but I think she fits here with this spot, with the speed, the way the track is playing, and you're going to get paid a little bit. 6-1 on a trainer who wins at 25% for the meet, but has been ice cold as of late until race 6.
And yeah, that Robertino Diodoro, but as you mentioned, his numbers going longer, a lot better.
Yeah, listen, Jonathan's opinion has been a lot better than mine today, which doesn't necessarily mean he's had any winners, but he's been much sharper than I have. Maiden specials at Sam Houston and Remington Park might be a little different than maiden specials at other tracks. I didn't like this horse. I think he failed at 4-5 at Sam Houston, and I don't see why he's supposed to get it done here, but he is a big price if you like him.
Meanwhile, at 12 in the background, Francisco Arrieta on Collected Glory. His horse is held at 7-2. With the 5, take that. I mean, that is a significant amount of money, isn't it, for this horse, for Candy Caramel?
Yeah, the problem is, and I think you'll agree, you've got an 8-time loser at 6-5 right now. To be fair, this horse has only been favored 1 time, and that was a turf race. This horse is also only a 3-time loser on the dirt, but the turf races are faster figs. So part of the reason they're betting the horse is based on figs and turf races, right? And I think that makes it a little bit deceptive. Yeah,
I agree as a horse to beat.
Yeah,
I thought.
Problem with saying, but I don't think he's supposed to be 6-5. I agree. I think that the 11 and even the 12 are very reasonable. I mean, the 12 ran a big figure last time. I don't know how reliable it is because it's the fastest number he ever ran, and it was at a much lower level. So I wonder if he can be expected to run it back.
Let's see, Peter Miller runner, 3-year-old filly by Candy Ride, Candy Caramel. Yeah, as you said, not really 0 for 8. 5 of those starts did come on the grass, so forget those. And the other 3 starts on dirt against much better straight maiden company. So on the class drop, 6-5 favorite with Ricardo Santana Jr. And can this 3 show any pace to be close? We expect to see, I would think, the 11 Thorn Crown is going to be forward in here, potentially the 7 as well.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, also possibly I'm Beth Dutton, right? I mean, that horse had some speed first time out. You got to think from the inside, they're looking to go. I don't know if she'll be good enough, but she could have some speed. Absolutely right about the 7 potentially having speed. But, I mean, the 11, couldn't the 11 just blast off?
Yeah, it looks that way. You know, back to the 3 for a moment, why I brought that one up. You see the bullet drill at Oaklawn. in the mud. So it's shown speed here as well, at least in the morning.
They left to look to try. I mean, the 11 potentially could be much faster, but they're lightly raced, these horses. You don't really know for sure. I wouldn't establish base their pace figures on 1 or 2 races.
Vic Stauffer nightcap here from Oaklawn.
They've backed out Plus Power. Riders off of Plus Power. Going to get right back up. 3 jocks in this race going for their 3rd win. Torres on Biogenic Babe, Castillo on Thorn Crown, and Arietta on Collected Glory. Plus Power in the red and white. Gets the thumbs up. Set to reload. They're at the post. They're set. They're off. Plus Power blew the brake. I'm Beth Dutton and Thorn Crown shows speed. Biogenic Babe and Insensitive are next. Candy Caramel on the move at the rail. Then to the outside and I.B. Sheehan and Collected Glory with Lovely Joyce, and Plus Power is distantly last. I'm Beth Dutton off the layoff for Tyler Bays, has the lead by 2 lengths. Biogenic Babe between horses, Thorn Ground 3 wide, and Candy Caramel in a very tight spot at the rail. They're all about a length from the front running I'm Beth Dutton. 3 back to Insensitive, another 2 to Collected Glory. Then comes She Be Sheehan. Lovely Joyce is double digits behind, and she's double digits in front of Plus Power. I'm Beth Dutton at the top of the stretch, a length in front of Thorn Crown and Biogenic Babe. They move as a team. Candy Caramel is back and forth, and she's got 3 lengths to make up. New leader, Biogenic Babe, off the top of the turn. Collected Glory is running in the center. Candy Caramel just found a seam, and she's after Biogenic Babe. Biogenic Babe, Candy Caramel to the outside and Collected Glory. Candy Caramel and Biogenic Babe. Biogenic Babe, Candy Caramel. Candy Caramel forges to the front, and she's got it. Candy Caramel in front. Candy Caramel beat Biogenic Babe. Collected Glory 3rd, Insensitive finish 4th.
Candy Caramel comes and gets Biogenic Babe, 5-7-12 in the nightcap at Oaklawn.
She was best. She got a good trip. She got a good ride. And nice to see Ricardo get the win. I feel bad for Jonathan, though. He had a good call with the 7. The 7 way outran the odds and looked to be a winner. I mean, not that it was close, and she was second best, but it's a little frustrating when you have a decent idea at a price and you get run down by a heavy chalk that's a little over bet. But she does get it done, 7-5.
Yep, 7-5 favorite, Peter Miller.
Jonathan.
What's that?
Good call by Jonathan in the 7. The horse outran her odds at 6-1. She ran fine. I didn't like her at all. She ran fine.
All right, enough love for the runner-up.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done being nice. I still hate Jonathan, but I was going to be nice for a brief moment.
Peter Miller, I don't know what to do with that.
Well, there was a horse in there. I got a little thrown off my game when Insensitive was in here, so I was kind of thrown,
Gary Barber, Richard Pell, Peter Miller, Ricardo Santana Jr. with a multiple win Friday afternoon. And the favorite closes things out in Hot Springs with a victory. Well, the prices for you when we come back and look ahead to the weekend once again right after this.
War Dancer. The momentum continues with recent stakes winners on turf and dirt. Dancing Buck going wire to wire in the Grade 3 Belmont Turf.
Dancing Buck has opened up on the field. It is Dancing Buck by a half dozen lengths.
And 2-year-old filly War Saichi with a wire-to-wire win in the Ladyfinger Stakes.
War Saichi asserted her authority immediately out of the starting gate, and she has not relinquished the lead.
War Dancer, the #1 third-crop turf sire in North America. Proud to stand in New York.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
On June 6, 2019, a new chapter began at Alapa when Hillendale transferred its operations to the famed Kentucky Station and Thoroughbred Nursery in Paris, Kentucky, on a farm that traces its origins to 1827.
All the essential things have been done.
3 years later, owner John Sikora couldn't be more proud.
You know, we're trying to be progressive, thoughtful, and respectful to what's already been here, the intent of the farm, along with, trying to become efficient and modern.
The 1,400-acre Alapa is driven by its owner John Sikora's passion to return the landmark farm to its original glory. The extensive restoration includes building a brand new breeding shed out of stone and concrete, matching the training barn that's been converted to be a stallion barn and now houses a roster of world-class stallions. Hillendale also built 8 new barns, plus adding landscaping and building tens of miles of fence, plus adding roads and utilities. Sikora appreciates the daily inspiration the farm gives him.
There's the ruins of an old dairy barn, which is it's like a beautiful relic. It's peaceful and quiet. There's waterfall ponds behind the house, behind the office. There's many unique, peaceful, great parts of the farm that create peace and a sense of understanding where you are and how unique the farm is.
He also enjoys visiting the stallion barn in the evening when it's quiet and peaceful.
The horses are looking outside their stall, looking outside the windows. There's like 4,600 windows in the stallion barn. They can look outside, and it's very, very, very natural, peaceful to them. And when I look at this barn too, I feel all the history and the great horses that were here. Great champions were all raised and broke and trained here.
Sikora is now focused on making new history at Alapa.
When you think of all that living history, it makes you respectful of the barn and who's been housed there, and then also a responsibility of trying to keep that same standard and try to move it forward and be historic in what we do, so that when someone would look back 50 years from now, they have a feeling of obligation for them to do the same here.
Back with you in our program, brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Beautiful grounds, of course. And every time we see that, it just makes me think, it's bucket list, have to get there.
Yeah, I've heard it's absolutely beautiful, as well as just being those. My friend Gabby Gadet had told me a while ago she had been there, Acacia as well, but supposed to be very nice, and love to get there. Haven't been to the farms in a while.
Nightcap Oaklawn goes to Candy Caramel, and my mistake, actually, this was Ricardo's sole win of the afternoon. Isaac Castillo had a couple, but Ricardo waits till the nightcap to get his picture taken.
Trying to get some extra wins for Ricardo, trying to sneak some wins. Nice to see him get the win, and it is a good colony down there. It really is. Ricardo's riding well. He always does.
Dropping in for a tag for the first time. And breaks her maiden, Peter Miller. $4.80 for the victory. As the 7-5 favorite, pick 4 over $1,000.
We have pick 5, 15, almost 16,000. We have a $24,000 pick 6 here. Yes. Correct.
Yeah. Carry over the pick 6 into Saturday's card. That includes, we talked about the Jimmy Winkfield before that pick 6, but the Withers on the road to the Kentucky Derby. And it is our ABR race of the week, rescheduled from last weekend when that cold weather canceled things. Mile and an eighth. And Arctic Arrogance back. Hit show coming to New York after a victory at Oaklawn for Brad Cox.
I'm not sure what to make of this horse. I know he worked here on Monday. I had heard from somebody who saw the work that I respect, that it was okay work, but nothing, that earth-shattering, but it's not. Maybe an earth-shattering effort is going to be necessary. I had mixed feelings about the field he beat. He obviously looked visually impressive in doing it for whatever that's worth. He got a decent enough figure. He should get some pace to run at. I thought he'd be, I think he's going to be favored here. David Aragon has it very close between the two of them, and I don't think he should be. I thought he might be overbetting here, so I was going to try to beat him.
Meanwhile, 90% Matty Butch Reed. We know this name and how dangerous he is when he brings horses to New York.
That's how I felt. He's very, very good. And it's interesting. This horse is a Wigalia, and Wigalia was a very good sprinter, but he's a foal to one horse. There's only one other foal from the dam, and that horse was better going longer. I know this horse came out of some good races. I liked his races. I love how well Butch Reed does shipping here, and I'm going to take a little shot with him at a bit of a price. I'm going to take some shots in here. I know he and General Quarters is it General Quarters? General Banker. I think both of them are kind of interesting horses at prices.
All 5 starts, they've come at Parks for 90% Matty, so we'll see. Butch Reed, though, has had tremendous success in big races, too.
Yep.
Bringing horses not only this part of New York, but upstate to Saratoga as well. So we look forward to that. 20 points to that winner to get into the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby for the Grade 3 Withers. Meanwhile, Oldmar, Florida, Grade 3 Sam F. Davis. W. Nell we've talked about, who's going to return for Danny Gargan. And was that performance for real? Can he reproduce it in his 3-year-old debut on that wet track that we saw him outduel Arctic Arrogance?
But from a buyer speed figure standpoint, his debut, a 4th-place finish behind a pretty talented horse, was a faster figure than his win in his second start on a wet track, and he took a big step forward here. The one thing I worries a little bit is this was a track that being forward was an advantage, I think, and I think it helped his chances in Remsen. It was a very forward race as well. But listen, it was a big number. He's not meeting anybody that's a tiger on paper, so he is the horse to beat. But I'm thinking, listen, it's very early. You have to, this is the time you start learning about horses, and we'll learn more about him tomorrow.
That win was at 1 mile and an eighth, so at least he has that on his resume. And now can he do it in better weather conditions? We showed you this race earlier. Zydeco, Champion's Dream, 1-2 in the Pasco. And Zydeco, his game, obviously speed. Champion's Dream missed by a neck in what was his 3-year-old debut in this race.
Yeah, he'll have to get faster stretching out. And I think the question is which one will be more effective. In the Champion's Dream, you would justify, whereas this horse is sired by more of a sprinter type. I think you would expect he should be able to get better going longer, but he also kind of hung here. He had every chance to get up, and he didn't. He should be better going longer, but they're both going to have to get faster to be competitive in races as they get tougher down the road. But you'd like to think that early season 3-year-olds will get better with their starts.
Is there a horse in this group that's sort of not being talked about much? Maybe is Litigate for Pletcher? Is it somebody else that interests you in here?
Well, you're always interested in looking at Pletcher horses, and we saw how well his horses ran last week. Litigate got blown off the track last time by Dale Roman's horse that was a complete no-show in the Holy Bull, but I don't know that degrades the performance of Litigate because Dale's horse just didn't show up.
What about Noda? John Terranova.
He's got to get better, though, doesn't
Yeah.
he need to win it? I mean, listen, I'm open to anybody. We'll talk about it more when we're on the air tomorrow. And right now, I didn't really have much of an opinion.
Both those races part of a cross-country Pick 5. We're back 12:30 Eastern. Start time FS2. That's until just before 2 o'clock. Then we're back on at FS1 starting at 4. 8th at Oaklawn and went to Bold Journey. That was a huge performance from him. Camp David, big surprise. Meanwhile, at Oaklawn, Arctic Arrogance trying to get over the hump after 2 runner-up finishes on the Triple Crown Trail. And W. Now the horse that beat him back in action.